Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Davon coming back with another nitty gritty, everything so saucy and professional wrestling. As we getting over to talk about Forbidden Door, and she just concluded, I'm here with my special guest Jeffery Robinson, who's coming through. He's one of my long good friends, who initially is a great enthusiast when it comes to professional wrestling, and pretty much he has some great insight when it comes to everything initially that goes on in professional wrestling, just general, not even just wrestling, sports. He also is he's into kicks, everything like that, sports, everything under the sun. But I appreciate you guys coming through, show your love, support. Don't forget to hit that like button, and as well, if you're coming over from Twitter, comments may be able to not be able to come through, but if you just switch over onto our profile page and switch over to the YouTube, so your comments can actually be presented directly here for this actual live. But all the while, let's get ahead and get into professional wrestling. And we're here with my main man, Jeffrey. But we'll get into everything about Forbidden Door. Pretty much, what was your hot take when it came to everything initially happened tonight with Forbidden Door? Starting off with just the card in general. What was your own personal opinion just about everything from start to finish?
So I was pleasantly surprised with the card. You know what I mean? Like we was talking a little off camera, but we can say it now. So I was a little worried about Forbidden Door. I'm not going to sit here in front like I thought it was going to be great. I was worried because I feel like the build-up wasn't what it had been. Like when we first got introduced to Forbidden Door, we got a bunch of surprises and stuff like that. And I was also worried because, you know, especially when it comes to New Japan, all the big names have already jumped ship to AEW. So it's like I'm thinking like, what else do you guys have to offer? So I do like how they infuse not just New Japan Wrestling, but also the other company where a lot of the luchadors came from, and you know what I mean.
Yes,
like,
I'm seeing
I
now.
like that. Yes, I like that. You know what I'm saying? That so the card, the event was pleasantly surprising. It was really good. Matches were amazing. I have a couple of favorite, matches of the night. Might surprise you. I thought the main event was I knew in the ring it was going to be great because you have two great workers. Like to
Yes,
me,
they
Will
can go.
Ospreay, they can go, man. And I'm listen. It's funny because the first time I got introduced to Will Ospreay was at Forbidden Door 2022. I
Mm-hmm.
was not familiar with Will Ospreay, and when I saw him, I was like, that dude's amazing. I was like, that
Yes.
dude is amazing. And I've just been a fan of his work, man. So for us to get him full time over at AEW, man, we're so blessed. And Swerve is a guy. I'm glad he's getting his push, well deserved. And that's what my biggest concern was for the night. I was worried they're going to take the belt off of Swerve prematurely.
No, it wasn't necessary for them to actually initially do that. I felt like
Yeah,
Swerve was just a big catch when it comes to a big fish. He really evolved on us when he initially made the switch over from WWE to AEW, and I
oh,
felt like he was a
absolutely.
big presence, 100%. And I feel like 100% when it came to everything initially that he pushed and how he was, and then just his presence alone, you knew he was gonna be a star from the get go when he first jumped ship to AEW. And I feel like when they finally gave him the belt, I feel like it was well deserved, and just his prevalence and just his presence alone really just had me captivating about everything he initially did in the ring. Same when it came to Ospreay. Ospreay, I enjoy everything about Ospreay. Just his
Yeah.
footwork when it comes to him knowing how to work the crowd. He really grew on me a lot, especially when it came to his New Japan days. He was phenomenal. He was like a chef's kiss when it came to cherry on top. And I initially got to see him grow up in New Japan Pro Wrestling before he initially made the
Yeah.
switch. And it was a great kind of thing because at first he was kind of trying to figure himself out, trying to find his identity, and he was struggling a big time when he first started off, like any
Yeah.
other star that initially made their presence in AEW. But initially, once they initially got that big push in American television, we really got to see them shine, and the main event really kept me invested. I was like, at first the card felt like it was a little bit lackluster when it came to everything initially happened. I was a little concerned
Yeah.
with a lot of people that was initially involved. I was like, hopefully this don't get shitted on as much as we really want to see it when it comes
Right.
to everything initially have been going on, especially with the internet wrestling community that really just see have been shitting on AEW lately. And pretty much, I feel like AEW still has been doing great work just in general of their matches. It's just that so many pro WWE's people are just fans of WWE just wanted to stick to WWE. I'm like, I understand you want to stick to WWE, but WWE is not the only place to initially be at.
Exactly. I to me personally, man, I love that we have options now because remember, we went, after WCW folded in like '01, man, we went almost 2 decades, and no disrespect to TNA. We knew TNA was never going to be a threat to WWE. We just
Yes,
knew it. Like,
TNA
yeah,
just didn't have that push.
they,
Even though they had the big stars, Kurt
they
Angle,
had the big
Samoa Joe,
stars, you
they had
know.
everybody.
They like okay, when they were getting ex WWE guys, they were getting guys that were like way past their prime that no one cared to see. Like
Way
literally
past their
way
prime, like
past their prime.
Nash, X
Hulk
Pac,
Hogan, Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan.
All
Yeah, it was like, come on, man. Like all due respect, y'all are legends, but we don't want to see y'all. When
but
AEW came around and they started this whole revolution, and it became like a true alternative. It was like, wait a minute, we have something here. So for me,
yeah,
like we all of us who grew up on WWE, all of us
one
grew up
hundred
on it,
percent.
and it's like you're always going to respect that. But it's like the age I'm at now, man. I don't care about gimmicks, man. You know what I mean? Like when I was a
Yep.
kid, the
The
gimmick
gimmicks
thing was
don't care. I don't
cool.
care for the
I don't
sports
care for
entertainment. I
that.
don't care for that. I care for
No,
the.
I
Of
want
course,
to.
I love the Attitude Era. I love
Of
that
course,
nostalgia
of
part.
course,
But it was
of
always
course.
storytelling implemented when it came to everything that initially was involved, and that's what really
Exactly.
kept me highly invested and watching WWE programming. I enjoyed WCW too, but until when
Me
they
too.
got towards the 2000 days, then it was just like it's
Uh,
like they didn't even care. It's just
yeah,
like I even
it didn't.
rewatched some stuff that I watched as a kid, and it felt like they were just like,
It
we
was
got a
bad.
big check, so we don't
That
care.
was it.
And it had no
It was it
direction with management because management kept getting
at
switched
all.
around so much. And then I also watched Who Killed WCW. It was so many
I
people
saw
just
that
pointing
too.
the fingers instead of taking
No one took
ownership.
no one took
So,
accountability for like the demise. I think what killed WCW, man, is when they got the success with NWO and they were actually competing, and it was like, wait a minute, we actually can do this. We actually might be able to put them out of business.
yep.
And when the NWO wasn't as fresh anymore, they had no ideas.
But they could have had ideas. They
They
had
could
so many
have.
great talent. They had the young
Oh
talent, but they
yes,
kept pushing Hogan and
and
so many
all
of
the
the
old
older like
talent.
Luger, all
Yeah.
them, but they had so much great talent, including Juventud Guerrera. They had Conan. They had so many
Yo,
people that were really fresh, and Rey
yo,
Mysterio, who was hot, who initially had the without the mask, and Ultimo
yo,
Dragon was over there killing it, and so many people don't remember that, but pretty initially Ultimo Dragon had like 16 championships at the time, but the
yeah,
WCW wasn't really given that spot of being like a world champion and all that, and I feel like he should have got
yo.
his props for that.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yo, to piggyback off what you're saying with WCW, bro, to put it in perspective, the talent they had, bro, they had, I'm gonna name five guys, right? That
yep,
they were respecting WCW, but now they're household names. Bro, they
yep,
had they had a Chris Jericho in his prime. You had a
yep,
young Chris Jericho in
yep,
his prime.
100%.
You had a young Eddie Guerrero in his prime.
Yep,
To what you just said, you had a bro. When to put it in perspective, Rey Mysterio when they had him, Ray was like 20 years old. Ray hadn't even
yep. And
scratched
he
the
was doing
surface of
great
his
work. He
prime
was
yet.
putting his body on the line at that
He
time
was
period.
doing amazing work, dude. Like you had Rey Mysterio before he even scratched
Yep,
his prime. You know what I'm saying? Like
yep.
you had who else? You said you had
D
Conan.
Malenko.
You
Yep.
had Demon. Oh, bro, one of the dopest technical wrestlers of all time. If y'all don't know about Dean Malenko, please Google. That
Go
dude was
look at
amazing.
his every
And
his
then you know
work.
what?
He can
And you
work.
know what? I know this is a name that some people have like banned or forbidden, but I'm with Paul Heyman when I say this. I'm talking about his in ring. Chris Benoit is one of the top five
One
in ring
hundred
performers of all
percent.
time.
100%. If it was somebody when it comes to a real wrestler that I can initially say who was one of my top five technical
Chris
wrestlers of all
Benoit.
time, Benoit, besides whatever he did on behind the scenes, but when it came
Exactly.
to his in ring work, he knew how
One
to
of
go.
the top
And he also knew how
five.
to push his opponents too. When his
Yeah.
opponents didn't know where to fit in, he already had it fully scripted. Like, hey, I'm gonna do a suplex into a backslip. You gonna hit me with a reversal into a drop kick. Benoit really was really on it when it came to knowing how to keep everybody involved. He knew he basically because
Absolutely.
Jericho really talked about it a lot, where he said that initially he scripted out the whole entire match from beginning to end when it came to Benoit, when it came to things being involved, and he already knew exactly how he wanted to end. And WCW wasn't really too keen on him because he wanted to give a little get a creative freedom. But honestly, give him some props when it came to his in ring work. Like he really worked it. He was like probably one of the best in the world when it came to that time period when he won the WCW championship and so many more different things. But a lot of people don't want to talk about that, about being kayfabe or blacklisting him. I'm gonna still talk about him because Benoit is one of those guys that I can really put there and say, hey, he's one of my top guys that I can say if somebody want to be a professional wrestler, look at Chris Ball's work, just his work. You ain't got to look at his wherever he did in his personal life, but just his body of work of how he initially got in the ring with big guys and little guys as
Absolutely.
well.
Oh, he was amazing, dude. Like Chris Ball was amazing. But go back to your original point, when you have a lot of people who are pro WWE, and I feel like since they pro WWE, they have to be anti AEW. No, this is a great time right now because you have two really good companies. And like I said, for me, I'm not anti WWE because I'm pro AEW. I just
Yep,
appreciate AEW a little more because of where I'm at in life. I don't need the like. I don't get me wrong. Storytelling is really still important in professional wrestling, but
one
I feel
hundred
like
percent.
AEW. I feel like AEW does do great storytelling, but it's more
They
so
do.
in the ring. You know
Yep,
what I mean? It's more so in the ring, and for me, man, the way I watch wrestling, like I said, at my age now, it's like I appreciate what these guys do in the ring, these
one
spots,
hundred
and
percent,
and it's a spot we're going to talk about that happened in that main event. That was just amazing. Like when it happened,
one
it
hundred
was like for
percent. We
me,
gonna get into that,
it was a holy you know what moment for me. I literally said
yeah,
it
it
out loud. I
was,
was like, oh my god, like and
and that's what it's
AEW gives
supposed to
us
be. AEW
exactly.
is supposed to be initially supposed to be an alternative to WWE. WWE is more of the entertainment style. AEW
Right.
is more so focused on strictly on professional wrestling. That's where they kind of got lost in the shuffle. They were trying to do too much of what WWE was doing, kind of doing shots. I'm like, don't do the tactics of what WCW was doing, and don't do initially what WWE is doing. Initially, if you do initially what you have in the front of everything you're doing, everything will be great, 100%. And I initially look forward to seeing AEW continue to be pushed in a great light. If more people just watched just the in ring work, they'll be entertained
Exactly.
100%. You ain't got to be like, I don't care about the ratings like that. I never was really like a big rating guy or like
Same
that. I
here.
don't care about
Same
that.
here.
Even at the even ECW days or even XPW days, even when they got low ratings, I still enjoyed the in ring work of XPW when it came on my television in LA multiple times when I was enjoying just the footwork and the hardcore style. Same when it came to ECW before they fell. I thought ECW was gonna last a while because they had Eddie Guerrero in them before they made the jump to WCW. They just didn't have the funds to pay
Yeah.
those
They had
superstars.
the funds.
And
That's what it was.
and Paul Heyman was doing IOUs, but initially he still got the job done when it came to showcasing stars, including bringing even legends back that initially needed that push, like Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, and Mick Foley, and so many more.
Yep.
When it came to just
Yep.
a wholesome of wrestling, I'm a guy that just love wrestling in general. I've never been like a straight pro WWE guys in general. I enjoyed the 80s, the 90s, back to those golden
Yeah.
days. Even
Yeah.
the Attitude days were great. But initially, when WCW came around, that was like, oh, finally something else I can watch. And then, of course, I started
Exactly.
looking at the territories and everything like that. Even back then, when I was younger, when I used to travel with my grandfather, initially going to those old school territories, even in Canada or even New York or wherever it may be, I enjoyed those initial times when it came to just wrestling in general. If you're just not a fan of wrestling, you just don't get it. A lot of people just like, oh, but
Exactly.
it's either the all WWE or nothing. But a lot of the newer fans that are part of just pro WWE, they're initially are younger generation. They're in a 1991 or a little bit younger. So a lot of them
Right.
don't understand the push. And then a lot of people that are a little bit past the 90s, they're a little bit more casual. They come in here and there to see their stars they used to still love because they fell out of
Right.
love when it came to professional wrestling in general. Like they used to love the Ric Flairs, the Hulk
Uh-huh.
Hogan's, the Rocks, all those superstars
Right.
initially came beforehand. And then when Cena probably was the last one initially got everybody initially involved and want to be interested just in general.
Mhm.
But when AEW initially did the kind of corner of what WCW doing, everybody was shitting on WCW. Oh, AEW doesn't know what they're doing, yada yada yada. They're still a developing new company when it comes to everything they're initially doing,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
of course they're about to hit. You know, they're initially about to hit towards that 5 year mark, about to pass up WCW's lineage of passing WCW. They're about to initially go right past WCW. And I've seen just not too long ago on the internet, on Twitter, Eric Bischoff was really just doing a lot of hating and shitting on the company and shitting on every single match tonight. And he really was digging into it because everybody was talking about like, haha, Eric, AEW's about to pass up what you couldn't do in WCW is keep them going and everything under the sun. And you see, I really wanted when they did the old school invasion angle, just getting off the topic about AEW, but when they
Yeah.
did the invasion angle, I really want to see that split of WCW initially being their own
I
alternate
did too.
brand,
I did
and
too.
because they had so many great talent and just really focus on the younger talent, because Vince really wanted to get rid of those old school Jeff Jarrett. Hogan, he wanted to get rid of all of them and just if he was gonna use Hogan, he was gonna use him for like attraction because he knew they was a money maker. But when it came to the talent, he's gonna make it like a developmental and have him go to WCW. But initially, people was like, "Oh, Vince was sitting on it." No, it was a lot of people in his just yes man. Initially, Vince didn't know what to do with the situation because he had so many people still under that WCW contract that didn't want to come over to WWE because they were afraid because they
Mhm.
saw what happened with the invasion angle. So he basically just shitted on everybody in WCW that initially was a star and made sure his WWE stars got a boost, but kind of like repackaged the WCW stars to initially they had to start from the bottom and work their way up, like Booker T, Tommy Dreamer, and so many other
Right.
new notable stars.
Right.
Dudleys, they had to work their way, they had to earn their stripes when it came to the WWE. And it's I was kind of a great little seat of seeing that happen when it came to everything initially unfolded. But initially, of course, WWE sucked everything up, switched everything up, went into more entertainment style, and it was okay for what it was. But when it came to AEW, it was completely different. It was like fresh, and that's what they need to stick to. They need to stick to just storytelling in the ring. That's what all elite wrestling initially is. It's basically
Exactly.
matchmaking, as Tony Khan initially coming out with these fantasy bookings. Initially, that's just what it is. Unfortunately,
Right.
he can do what
Right.
he wants. He's a billionaire. He can initially, if he today he wants to bring an international superstar from CML, say, hey, tell the president I want to bring like 16 stars, superstars for a rampage match. You think they go complain? That's less money they got to worry about. If Tony Khan want to do that and play with his money and play action figures all day, hey, it is what it is. But I still enjoy his work when it comes to
Yeah.
things that should happen. Because the superstars, they getting paid and they go put on the show for us because one, they get paid all these millions. And regardless if they sit at home or not, they're still going to make their money because they feel like the
Right.
WCW all over again. But not necessarily with the management style of mismanagement, just more so Tony's kind of, and it reminded me of a little bit of Vince in the earlier days of trying to figure himself out until he initially got more pieces around him, and then he became a little bit more entertainment. So a lot of
Yeah.
people don't understand that it's still in the learning curve when it comes to everything. He has a
Right.
lot of great legends that initially were there. I feel like he should have took advantage when it came to Mark Henry, who was there, because Mark Henry is
Agree.
a great insight person, and he
Agree.
found so many notable great people
Yes,
when
he
it came
did.
to the industry. He found Samantha Irvin when it came to the announcers in WWE. He found Jay Cargill. He found
Yeah.
so many notable. He found Bianca Belair. He found he found Will Ospreay back in the Indies when he was younger, and actually let Paul Heyman know about him. And Paul Heyman actually looked up on his work and said, "Hey, well, anytime you want to come into pro wrestling, I want you to start your career and evolve." That would have been a development area for WWE, and he would work his way towards NXT and work his way
Mm.
up. But Ospreay wanted to take his own path. He didn't want to just be handed something. So I give props to Ospreay when it comes to
Respect.
him making his own path. But
Respect.
I'd like to know what else you were feeling when it comes to just everything that initially happened this week, with everything that had transpired, just in general with WWE. Have you been catching up on Impact? Impact, I'm kind of like up and down when it comes to that. I feel like Impact just still trying to find a soft spot, but they have some great talent
Yeah.
over there, including Joe Hendry. and so many of them, including Jordan Grace. Initially, I'm waiting to see where she ends up, but hopefully she'll be able to pass that wellness check because she's not 100% natural when it comes to everything with that. But now
Yeah,
because it's no longer under that old school WWE policy, they're now under the new TKO banner. I think TKO may be a little bit more lenient when it comes to whoever they actually let be involved in so many
okay.
notable things. And then same when it comes to AEW general, Brian Cage I know he just resigned his contract with AEW. I was kind of surprised on that. I initially thought he
Me too.
was going to go to WWE because that is
Me
what he
too.
was selling. He was selling that for a good while when it came to social media.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see a change when it comes to just in general what he was doing. But initially he's fallen back under the rails again after the whole situation with the feud with Swerve Strickland. And I feel
Hmm.
like the agony, well, the gates of agony, which they're calling themselves, feel like it's been like flatline lately since they initially just split up
Absolutely.
from Swerve. And
Absolutely.
so many talent that this year want to leave under the sun, including the biggest one is Ricky Starks.
Yes.
I'm he's a gem 100%, but with him
I
missing right
agree.
now in AEW, I feel like it's really just been really, really flat. Just missing him in general. He knows how to speak on the mic, but I feel like he's too small in WWE. I feel like he needs to, even though he wants to go over there, but I don't feel like he'll get that push like he really thinks he gonna get when he goes to WWE. Even though
Yeah.
WWE got that money making style, but I prefer for him to be in AEW. Just my own personal opinion. I feel like if he just hangs in there just a little bit longer, give a little bit of time until they creative find something to really do with him, because they have way too much talent. They need to actually split it up into a brand split. Have some talent on strictly on Dynamite, and then some talent directly on Collision. Then that would actually keep us highly invested, and then make Rampage like a cross promotion where they initially you may see stars from either Rampage, from Dynamite or from Collision. That's where they go 1-on-1 and have their own initial battle on Rampage to get the Rampage viewership back up, because Rampage, nobody really watched that after they watched SmackDown. They initially already tuned out, going to go watch something else, or they going to go knock out for the next following day, getting ready for work. But in
Absolutely.
general, I feel like that needs to be the initial move when it comes to being able to get more talent on television, but also we'd be able to showcase more of the stables, being able to see more fantasy booking, because we can't have to keep have the same people that's going to be on television on every single show on Wednesday and Saturday. I feel like it needs to be some kind of change with that in order for them to get some kind of reassurance that fans would like want to tune in. Of course,
Right.
if you showcase talent, let people know who they are, I feel like it will really help AEW a lot when it comes to their missing links of so many people that show up, especially from CMLL or even from New Japan. Because a lot of people don't really know who these stars are. They just show up out the blue and be like,
Exactly.
who is this? But if they give it like a week's time and say, hey, this is who the superstar, here's a highlight, he's coming soon this following Saturday for a match against Will Ospreay. They're like, okay, let me go look him up on YouTube or Google and figure out who the
Right.
superstar while they're actually giving a match against Will Ospreay, and then it'll be something interesting. Or they do like the Adam Copeland Open, which initially will hopefully Jack Perry initially will go back. Initially, I'm gonna put little spoilers. Jack Perry is the TNT champion, but he goes back to doing the TNT Open. Then initially have those notable stars like Matt Cardona or some other stars that you initially would never thought you would see just from other promotions come over and just randomly show up, and then initially it just get it buzzing, and people wouldn't initially would tune in. And I think that would
Right.
be something interesting to see if they initially go that route with the TNT Championship to get us invested. If they want to showcase a lot more, because I know Tony's a really, really high when it comes to just multiple professional wrestlers in general. But I would love to see him make the switch and focus more of his talent, because he got way too much talent that he's paying,
Yeah.
but he's also paying too many stars on other promotions too, where it's taken away from stars that's getting frustrated in the back who initially want to go WWE, even if they are on a dark match or something, they're doing something. But also, I want to. My personal opinion. I would love to see AEW actually go back to doing house shows or live shows to give more talent a little bit more of a get out that ring rust and be able to be showcased a little bit better when it comes to just everything in general. So they don't be making botch spots. They can make chemistry with the people they actually get in the match with. So, like example, if they have something that's not, it can still be a light schedule, but like have like two house shows to mix it up in between. So when they have a match against the person the next following night, they already know how they work, how they move, what moves are being set up, and then everything will be like a smooth transition when it comes to the ring work of everybody being involved. But
Mhm.
I would like to know from your personal opinion, what do you feeling when it comes to what AEW need to good do when it comes to get over that curve to kind of switch things up when it comes to just everything in general?
So my opinion is we kind of share a lot of the same opinions. I think that Rampage, I like your idea, making Rampage like a general show for both Collision and Dynamite because I do agree. One, two things need to happen with AEW. They need to either trim the fat because you have too you have their problem is they have too much talent, and you
Way too much.
unfortunately you can't showcase and give everybody a push. So some you're gonna have a lot of people that's not happy and not getting because it's like you only have so much TV time to give them. So I think Rampage could, if they revamp Rampage, Rampage could be the answer. First of all, Rampage needs to be more than an hour. It
Yes,
needs
it
to be more than an
does.
hour because you can only pack so much in an hour. You may be able to get three matches out that hour, maybe,
Yep.
maybe. So it needs to be at least 2 hours. But if you're going to expand Rampage, you need to actually put some life into it. I mean, let's be real. Me and you have gone to shows and we've stayed, because people who don't know, Rampage isn't live. It's
No,
filmed
it's not
right
at
after.
all.
It's filmed right after
Even Ring of
Dynamite. So
Honor too is not live.
yeah,
That's the annoying part.
yeah, and it's like, as a wrestling fan, yeah, it's dope when you go to these shows live and you get so much wrestling, but it's like, damn, I've been here since like 4 o'clock, bro. You want me to stay until almost 10? But my thing is this too. It's like it just seems like it's just a throwaway show. It's like, there's no content to it. Like the matches they put together, it's like the matches are just put together. There's no build up. It's like it's just
True.
like, oh, I'm just gonna randomly just throw out this match, and that's when Tony's fantasy booking comes into play, and it's like this just doesn't. Yeah, we might get a good match out of it, but it's like, okay, what now? Like, what are you gonna do with these people? Like, you know what I mean? So if you're gonna
True.
keep Rampage, revamp it, revamp it,
One
and
hundred
also I
percent.
think, and also I feel that same way about Collision. I thought Collision when it first was created last year, I thought it got off to a great start. It looked different from Dynamite. Production wise, it looked good and everything. But after the whole CM Punk thing, it seemed like Collision has lost its way, and it's just like it's becoming an afterthought.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, it's becoming an afterthought. So for me, Rampage and Collision needs to be revamped
One
because
hundred percent.
especially Collision. If Collision's supposed to be your second best show, it needs to matter. It needs to matter.
And
It
it
need you
feels
like
it feel flat. It feel like it hasn't been
it's
since
super
initially
flat.
that. Yep. It's felt super flat when it came to everything initially they initially pushed when it came to just Collision in general. Of course, it was TNT's idea to give CM Punk since initially if the Young
Young
Bucks
Bucks,
and
yeah,
all of them couldn't get along, just give CM Punk initially his own show. The ratings were
right,
up. And initially, he is a big draw, 100%.
yeah,
CM Punk
yeah, absolutely.
initially kept us highly invested, but initially thought CM Punk should have stayed WWE, not WWE, and AEW initially. It would have helped him out when it came to the big markets and everything like that.
I agree.
He should have
I
squashed
agree.
that baby drama when it came to the Young Bucks and all them. I feel like they played an immaturity level when it came to the situation because they initially just really was just
Absolutely.
dropping the ball when it came to everything. And initially they were a new company and they can't play those tactics with every single superstar. They can't do those kind of things with Adam Copeland or anything like that because Adam Copeland's like Undertaker when it comes to the old school style of wrestler.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Mad
example,
respected.
you
He's
act the
mad
fool,
respected.
we go have wrestlers court and we go sit there in the back and we go squash the shit. Or if you really got some problem, we go fight it out. We ain't gonna let no tabloids know. We ain't gonna let nobody know. You just gonna show up on a show with a black eye, and they gonna wonder what happened.
Right.
None of your business. You
Pretty much.
here, and that's just what it is.
Pretty much.
Or if you find out like, oh, Taker was sitting there at the chair and Gorilla were taping his fist because somebody acting a fool. He wasn't playing those games too. He was like the father group. He's whooping everybody ass. He didn't care. He's like put the belt on everybody. Even on Hogan when Hogan came back and he was kind of like not really like being respectful when they tell him he came back in the NWA days, but Taker checked him. It was like, yeah, you've been going whatever like that, but we can't have you disrespecting everybody, even the younger talent. You need to get your
Right,
shit together. And that's
right.
what AEW really needs is that's what they do
They
have. They
need
have Paul
rock and
White
roll
there.
guys.
They have Mark Henry there. They
Jericho.
had Arn
Yeah,
Anderson. I'm surprised Arn Anderson haven't really just knocked somebody sitless and call it a day. I would have thought Arn Double A definitely would have put hands on
yeah,
somebody, but he's changed his ways a lot. I know he used to do that back in the
yeah.
days when somebody acted a fool, he put him in a headlock really quick and put him to sleep, and they be like, man, what happened? Oh, Arn put him to sleep because he was acting a fool, and Arn was known for those days, especially in the WCW days with his brother initially, was being straightforward when it came to no nonsense, no bullshitting, no spreading rumors. But that was happening a lot when it came to the drama of CM Punk and the Young Bucks and all them. I know Kenny A wasn't really initially a part of it, but he was still cool with the situation. He kind of really expressed that when he came to social media and kind of broke that down a little bit. Like, yeah, he was trying to be see what was going on, like more of an instigator more than anything else. He would just kind of see what was going on, but he kind of just fall back a little bit. But more so was Hangman and all of them, and the younger talent really just kind of just feeling like they was shit because they got their own show. But I'm like, yeah, but you still got to respect the legends. The legends done it way beforehand. They know how to get the
Exactly.
viewership. They know how to be captivating. They know what works. Of course, the newer talent do too because they're figuring it out on the fly. Kind of like the Attitude Era when a lot of talent were being invested in, being involved when it came to everything initially that had happened. But I Punk should have stayed and tough it out. But he showed himself. But initially, WWE, I see how things in this year going over there. He's on his last leg. Initially, everybody's just high praising
Exactly.
him, and of course, he's on his best behavior right now because if things don't go his way, we already know what
He
the
has
result
nowhere
is.
else
He's
to
getting
go.
terminated.
Exactly.
He got nowhere else to go. Impact, I don't see. They may try to get him because they want to get some viewership, but they're on the wrong channel. Ain't nobody gonna be watching no Destination America. No, being honest, and they're trying to get
Right.
content creators to now stream their stuff. That's how bad it's getting over there in Impact. Impact TNA is trying to get people to initially watch their stuff, and they're getting content creators involved, putting it on stream. They trying to get all involved, but their owner, the CEO, whoever the new owner is, this is not really getting the push they want. But at least WWE is trying to help them out a little bit because so many people was that bridge to kind of help them out, including not Mia Yim, but Gail Kim, Shanish, because she, you know,
Yeah.
she has some great push when it came to things. Shanish, she got everybody involved. And same when it came to Naomi and all them, they initially wanted to give TNA a kind of little facelift and kind of get them involved when it comes to NXT because they know what they can do in the ring. And just everything in general, hopefully things get better when it comes to TNA, but AEW needs to step it up with their shows, make it more serious, make it
Absolutely.
more focal point,
Absolutely.
cut some fat. If people want to go, Tony just need to let them
Let
go.
them
I don't
go.
care how much the contract is. I don't care if it's 5 years left on the contract. Of course, where people are wondering if Buddy Matthews is going to end up leaving, is Malachi Black going to end up leaving? If they want to go, let them go.
Let
Initially,
them go.
let them go. They're going to go over to WWE. I don't feel like they're going to have any room to grow. They're going to be the new toy on the block, and then they'll be end up on Twitter speed or something like that, which I don't want to see when it comes to
Right.
everything. Because Twitter speed is initially just AEW just on a faster pace of a 1 minute match. Like I can't get invested in. I'm not gonna watch a show like 100%. I'd
Yeah.
rather watch fast pace go the whole entire 15, 20 minutes until they burn themselves out and they get tired, but they still keep us involved and initially want to continue to be entertained and say this is awesome the whole time. I'm not gonna say this is awesome in 30 seconds. I might tune out like, all right, this what the hell was this? I like
Right.
I'm
You
not
pick
gonna
up.
be invested.
Yeah, you pick up your phone to reply to a text message. You look up and the match is over. Like, what the heck is this? Like, I can't even get
Yeah.
invested in this. You know what I mean? So no. But no, I totally agree with everything you said, man. And especially when it comes to AEW, I feel like AEW. We forget that AEW is a fairly new company. Like you said, five is about to mark its 5 year anniversary, and I feel like they've made a lot of good strides. Of course, they've made some mistakes, and which is okay. That's fine. But going forward, like AEW can't make the mistake every time a WWE guy gets released or his contract's up. You don't have to sign
100%.
them. You don't have to
And I
sign everybody.
they don't have to sign everybody that gets dropped off the radar. And I feel like they're about to do that now. They about to, because I know they're getting ready for the Indian deal when it comes to this is their new streaming service that this is gonna be having in India, and they're gonna be signing Jinder Mahal on purpose. I'm like, you don't need to sign him just because you're getting an India deal. I understand this whole situation, and they making the new Jeff Jarrett's big man what's his name Raja Singh,
Oh,
not Raja Singh.
Saddam Singh.
Yeah.
Is
So
that Saddam Singh?
initially, yeah, he's really going to switch over to commentary for India. So initially, he's becoming the great Kali ambassador of AEW to push the India market. Initially, they're going to announce that in the next coming weeks or so for the India market, and then also as well having Jinder Mahal being involved. And I'm like, come on, okay, don't do what WWE doing. I understand you trying to get the push and get the Indian market, but is it really that serious? A special nuts for Tony Khan, they're going to have a streaming service in India. Like, no, he needs to go back to the special announcement being something that's more serious, straightforward. Like, okay, we're setting up for a new pay per view. Initially, they're going to get the new streaming deal with Warner Brother Discovery, and they're going to have 12 matches throughout the whole entire year. I don't know if I want to sit there and pay $50 a month, unless if it's
Nah.
going directly through the streaming service and it's like whatever the max deal when it comes to like $10 a month or like that. Cool, I'll be cool. Pay $15 a month, whatever, to watch all AEW content much as I want, including the pay-per-views. But initially, we're gonna get that towards 2025 when they have all the initial pay-per-views. That's the contract initially that Warner Brothers Discovery want. They want 12 pay-per-views all year long, plus exclusive content like behind the scenes stories and all that. And I don't know if I'm going to be highly invested when it comes to that, but we shall see how much content that AEW initially push out. But it's going to be like a much of an overload where it's like you're not focusing on the wrestling more, so trying to do what WWE's doing. I don't need to see no Total Divas and like that. I don't care for that. I don't care what they do behind the scenes of their romantic relationships. If they want to,
Right.
if you want to know about what they do in their relationships, go check out their social media accounts. Go
Right.
see what
Go
they
to
doing on that.
IG.
Go look on their
Yeah.
Instagrams. You can see what they doing on their because so many talent are posting so much that you don't need to see a show to see what they do behind the scenes, especially when it comes to trolls or like that. They need to know how to get under the skin of these talent, and a lot of these talent come barking back and biting back and getting with so many of these content creators and going back and forth, and the content creators know buttons to push, and they go get juicy information just in general. And
Right.
that's just what it is. Like, you don't need to make these weekly shows or over the top shows. It's unnecessary. Just my own personal opinion.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But
So yeah, man. No. Yeah, no, let's go ahead and get into it, man.
let's go ahead and get into this initial show of everything that she broke down when it came to AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. It was a great, phenomenal show, just was decent. It was very mid from my own personal opinion, but initially the main event and the ladder match initially helped everything out, initially get everything back on top when it came to everything initially being involved. They had the kickoff show initially with notable 6 matches, which was pretty decent. We had Kyle Fletcher taking on Serpentico. We also had the four-way tag team match of House of Black of Throne, Private Party, Kyle O'Reilly, and Tomohiro Ishii taking on Gabe Kidd and Roderick Strong. We also had women's tag team action of Willow Nightingale and Tammy Cunningham taking on Chris Statlander and Momo Wantabe. We also had the Owen Hart qualifying match of Mariah May taking on Saraya. Then we had the loadable some trios action of Mistico, Ray Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. taking on Titan, Yota Ishii, and Hiromu Tanahashi, which is pretty decent just in general. But we're going to go and start with the match of Kyle Fletcher versus Serpentico. I feel like that match was pretty decent. It was a lot of back and forth action. Kyle O'Reilly really stepped up into his own with a whole lot of technical wrestling. Serpentico still feeling flatline, still catching the L's for his Spanish um, project and things initially just was feeling flat. But it really showed Kyle Fletcher just in general, just of how he does things. And I'm looking to the future of seeing what Kyle does in the long run. And I look forward just in general of seeing how he does with that run of the Ring of Honor Television Championship. But he needs to stay on Ring of Honor Television. But I understand this was initially was a AEW Forbidden Door concept show of all the shows being on one show. That's what initially needs to be. Initially, just have one platform where they all be on one show that have all the championships on
Yeah.
one kind of thing. Initially, I know Tony Khan initially is going to have like a Battle of Belts pay per view. Initially, he wanted to change that from Saturdays to initially have it where it's initially just every title on the line and every single match is a title match. But
Okay.
Kyle Fletcher initially got the pinfall with the turnbuckle a brain buster to pick up the pinfall. Serpentico. This match went a total of not even 6 minutes and 23 minutes. But I'd like to know from your personal opinion how what you feeling about that. The kickoff when it came to the 0 hour for that initial match.
Okay, so that initial match, I'm with you, man. I thought it was decent. I thought it was a good match for the 0 hour. I understood why that match wouldn't have never made the main card. But to your point, to Cal Fletcher, excuse me, I think he has a lot of potential. I've seen him in some really good matches, especially when he initially got on the roster and he was doing a lot of work with the Don Callis family. Like he has a lot of good potential. So I would like to see him continue to get a push. But if you okay, so he's the Ring of Honor TV champ. So I'm with you. Let him push that belt over there, and then when you're ready for him to have a main roster spot on the AEW, come over and give him a nice little push. I can see him being a really strong mid card guy.
100%. I feel like
You
he's
know,
on his way to becoming like one of those big stars. I feel like he can battle for the international AEW championship or even
yeah,
the Continental title championship. I feel like he's in that little spot of the mid card division, which is well needed of having a decent mid carder until his tag team partner comes back. But I
right,
actually am loving his in-ring work of singles competition. I know a lot of people haven't seen him much when it comes to television because he's on Ring of Honor a lot, and a lot of people are not
yeah,
going to sign up for Ring of Honor card unless they're going to see the results. But they initially are not initially seeing the match of his work. He can really go when it comes to initially everything under the sun, and I enjoy his work just in general. No complaints when it comes to Kyle Fletcher. When it comes to Serpentico, I feel like he's still just the jobber of AEW. He's gonna catch L's
yeah.
every single
He's
week.
jobber, man. Yeah,
He's out right now. Initially, he's just gonna be that filler guy. When they have some new star or somebody that just need from the fill in, he go fill in, take the L. And he's not worrying about the L. He's getting paid to take those L's, so he's all good
right.
when it comes to that. Just in
He
general.
knows his role. Yeah, he knows his role. So yeah, but yeah, I thought it was a decent match.
Okay, but we got the next initial match, which was a fatal four-way tag team match. We had Gabe Kidd, Roderick Strong, the Kings of Black Throne, which was Brody King and Malakai Black, taking on Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii, true legend in New Japan. Private Party, which is Isiah Kassidy and Marq Quen, continue to fall flat when it comes to everything. But initially, I would love to see them get a little advancement in the tag team division. This
Same
match
here.
was really decent. Everybody was able to get off their signature moves, a lot of transitional moves, a lot of back and forth. The crowd was really involved into it. House of Black really took control of this match, dominated everybody across the board. Initially got the pinfall when it came to Brody. Brody King ended up hitting that lovely Dante's Inferno. Initially, that lovely power driver submission. Initially, he was able to pick the pinfall on Isiah Kassidy, and everybody being involved in this match really helped this match initially. But I feel like it could have been on the card, but they put it in a 0 hour, but it was okay for the West. They should have just made it a number one contenders match, and I would have been cool with that. But initially, a lot of stars was just a filler match just to keep us invested for the 0 hour because they had nobody else at the time who were in New York. But they could have gone so many different directions. But well, I'd like to know from your own personal opinion how you feeling about everything with that whole situation of that initial match when it came to everything that initially broke down.
So when it came to that match, you kind of took the words from my mouth. That's when as you were at talking and describing the match, the
Yep.
thing that came to my mind was filler. It just was a filler match. I'm with you. If you're gonna have a fatal four way like that, it should be for something. It should be for to determine who's the number one contender because like that's another thing with AEW. I feel like they were thriving 2 years ago with their tag team division because they still had. It's not because it's lack of teams. It's not like how
No,
it
it's
is in
not.
WWE. Their tag teams division sucks because it's like lack of teams. They have amazing tag teams in AEW, but I feel like they haven't focused much on that as they should. with that being said, okay, okay, I'm not sure what they're doing with the House of Black. I'm not sure if Buddy Matthews is if he's in the win or whatever. I'm not sure what's going on with that. We really haven't seen Julia Hart since she's lost the TNT belt, so I'm not sure
Yep,
what's going on with that. So
they're on
I
a
feel like
on. Well, with
oh, go
them,
ahead.
they're initially on the kayfabe injury right now. Julia Hart initially did injure her elbow or something like that, so she's initially out for a couple of months. They said 2 to 4 months initially with that initial injury. She had surgery. And Buddy Matthews, of course, he was kayfabe injured out because he got married over the initial
Right,
weekend to Rhea
right.
Ripley. So initially, he had to have that personal time off so he can enjoy his honeymoon and all that because he initially had that already scheduled. So initially, he took the time out, and things initially were cool with that. But they still about to get back on the steamroll of things because they still got to get ready for the initial all the beefs that they're leading up to with the House of Black. They got delete. They got that drama going on as well. Same when it comes to everything initially going on with the previous drama that's going on as well with Jeff Jarrett and as well. There's so many people that's involved in this whole situation that initially is kind of keeps me invested, but at the same time, it's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are just throwing people in groups against the House of Black, and House of Black is just dominating everybody, and it's not really keeping me invested to really care too much because it's like somebody wants to throw a shot at House of Black. House of Black dominates them. Do you never see them again for another 2 or 3 months because they have nothing to do with that talent? And that's the initially just the annoying part of just in general. House of Black should be dominating right now. Should be one of those top stables initially running everything right now. But I feel like it's just so lackluster, and I feel like it's just falling very flat, just in general with the House of Black.
No, I agree, man. I think House of Black have some of the best performers in their faction. They should be getting a bigger push. Private Party should be getting a bigger push. You know, so for them just to kind of just be throwing this match and it doesn't mean anything. Like, yeah, it was a good it was a good match, but I feel like it was a filler just to keep us engaged with the 0 hour because outside of the 0 hour, like I said, it was the 0 hour was okay. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah,
honestly, I took that time during the 0 hour. Like I was kind of popping in back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Really
yep,
didn't have
that's
my
what I was
attention.
doing too.
I
I was taking
was
piss
yeah. I was
breaks,
like
working on other stuff.
yeah. I'm like getting ready for the work week. You know what I'm saying? Doing laundry, doing a bunch of other stuff. So I'm like, okay, when 5 o'clock come, I'll be set to sit down and actually watch the main card. But yeah, zero
Yep.
hour, it was okay. It was okay. But
Yep,
to
zero
me,
hours was good. Was okay. It was just a filler. I
no,
feel like, and honestly, they needed to just focus on making 0 hour. Just make it 30 minutes. Have like two matches, and
I
then get
agree.
ready for the initial card. Instead of
I
having it
agree.
stretch out for like 7, 6 matches, it don't need to be that. But I'm loving what they're initially changing up with the 0 hour. Then initially having the podium of them initially having the podiums, and then having Renee Paquette taking over the initial show with Jeff Jarrett and a couple other people, and they should just do it kind of similar to having their pre-show, but initially having talent just pop in and out, talking about initially the matches, what like that, and her initially just going over the card, initially getting
Yeah,
people hype up and want to initially buy the pay-per-view. That's what they need to really push 0 hour to be, instead of just pulling filler matches and people like, should I really want to buy it? Should I be invested? You just going over everything and just having all these great matches like, ooh, oh, okay. But you're initially not advertising the pay per view how it should be. Just push the pay per view, advertise the show, show behind the scenes of talent getting ready, showing up in the arena, make it fun, make it interesting. It don't have to be exactly WWE is just smart. They changed up their whole entire production crew on that
yeah,
end of things because when Bruce Pritchard was having charge of things, it was just dumpster fire. They was going to those old school WWE style camera angles and everything. And their initial NBC producer that came in did a phenomenal job of changing behind the scenes, showing them coming out through the entrance tunnel and everything like that. And this league going back to those old school days of where how it needs to be. But where AEW can shine, if they go back to initially kind of do it like that, but with a little twist, do it kind of like the 96, 95 days. You remember when we used to have the main event style of matches or the title matches, make it a big field match? We have it
hmm
with the little drum, little prelude or whatever like that. And you see the talent getting hyped up, ready, whatever, like halfway through the hurting. and just talking shit or whatever like that, or getting stuff up, then walking directly to the curtain, then they theme
Mm,
hits, and you're like, okay, then they have the curtain already ready to go, and then they just
yeah,
come out and get things ready to go. Kind of similar to Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin's match at WrestleMania. I feel like they could take advantage of that because nobody's using that kind of style right now.
right.
Everybody's just going directly all the way from the back or whatever entrance, and they're doing it that way. But they come off with that camera angle, I feel like it will be notably easier to digest when it comes to getting involved in title matches. But
Yeah,
0 hour needs to be cut down a little bit just so people
yeah,
get
just a
involved
little bit.
and really
Just
focus
a little
on
bit.
people being actually invested and involved. If they do that, more people will be more inclined to actually buy the pay-per-view. But when they just
No,
have match after match people are just like, oh, I just was a pre-show, I don't need to buy it. And they're like, maybe I'll buy it, maybe I'm not. Man, just feel like it's a filler. And
yeah,
fillers
yeah,
fillers don't sell the show. If you want people to buy the show, you got to make it notable. You got to make people seem like why should they buy the show? Make them feel
exactly.
inclined to really want to buy the match.
No,
But
exactly,
we,
man. So yeah. So no, I'm with you, man. 0 hour, you know what I'm saying, needs to be cut down. I will say this: the main event for 0 hour, and that was good, you know what I mean. But it's a little disappointing
yes,
because 2 years ago, Lucha Bros was one of your top tag teams, and now they've been reduced to 0 hour. You know what I
and
mean?
they
It's
shouldn't
like,
be
come
0 hour.
on, man. No, Lucha Bros is
And
one of the dopest tag teams in the world.
yep. And right now,
Like, if
W
these dudes
is
can
looking to
go.
pick him up.
Dude, I'm be honest with you. I don't want to see that because I feel like they're not going to do anything with them. You know what I mean? Like they're at the perfect place. AEW.
Yep,
AEW just needs to showcase more. Like AEW needs to go back with their tag team division they did 2 years ago when their tag team division was actually being featured. I feel like,
true.
especially with the young. Okay, real quick because I know we need to get into the actual cards
No,
and the
you
actual
get.
matches. But real quick,
Yeah, we got time.
the Young Bucks as EVPs is such a big conflict of interest, and Tony really needs to strip him of that. And
Yes,
Kenny, I understand that you guys were there at the beginning and you guys helped. Okay, cool. No one's taking away from y'all that, but now
true,
it's like this needs to, you guys need to just be just talent now. Bring some experienced
true.
guys and allow them to be in that space. You know what I
One
mean?
hundred
Like
percent.
I don't like the Young Bucks and Kenny as EVPs, man. I despise it. I truly despise it. The simple fact that they hold the titles as the EVPs, it's like they're one of the reasons why this tag team division is stagnant. So
It's feeling
that
flat.
that needs to
One hundred
change. Yeah,
percent.
it's super flat, man. So that needs to change, man. That needs to change. But okay, get into the actual main card for Forbidden Door, man. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised how good this card was because, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. My expectations for this card was not very high
Yep.
because last year's show was kind of mid, and then this year, I don't know, it is the promotion of it. You know what I mean? To your point, like you said earlier, a lot of the wrestlers, if you're not like a super wrestling head, a lot of people off the top of the head wouldn't know who these people are. Like I have been invested in New Japan for the last couple years, so a lot of these people that did come in, I did know, fortunately.
Yep.
But a lot of people aren't like that. So I just was like, okay, these. So I was just a little worried. And then the main event, we'll get into it. I
Hmm.
was worried about that with the booking because I was like, okay, if you book this wrong, you're gonna book yourself into a corner where stuff is not gonna make sense.
One hundred
So, but
percent.
but I will say this, like I said, with the matches and the booking, pleasantly surprised. So
Yep.
we can go ahead and get right into it, man, with the first
All
match.
right, we got the initial 0 hour match. It was Mariah May taking on Saraya. It was for the Owen Cart Foundational quarterfinals.
Hmm.
This match was okay. It was a lot of back and forth. We ended up
Yeah,
having Tony Storm and Luther as being valets for Mariah May. We
yeah,
ended up having Saraya. She ended up having Harley Cameron who initially is still becoming a development, still finding her own, similar to what Maxine Dupree in WWE is doing. Listen, we're seeing her develop into her own on television because she's still figuring it out. Initially, she's
Yeah.
used to do a lot of music for WWE back in the day. Now she made the switch over to AEW after she got released from that thing of doing singing and all that. She did the Iconics theme over in TNA Impact, which was a decent theme, and now she's
Oh
making her
wow.
way towards being in the ring. So
Okay.
it's kind of seeing her getting involvement, kind of a little different. And Saraya initially got her initial new group when it comes to the Outcast 2.0 of having Anna J, who's notably just a hot, just in general, a whole lot of assets. And just and just in general with her having as well as having Harley Cameron being involved with her, and things initially continue to be developed with that initial group as they're trying to find their stride with Saraya lead up towards All In, because that's they're getting ready to go back towards her home country, and she's initially trying to get into the finals of that initial thing. But things initially broke down when it came to the drama that initially did happen with the brawl out throughout this match. The girls did their best they could when it came to Saraya and Mariah May, but Mariah ended up picking up the victory at the end for hitting a lovely lights out when it came to her initial finisher, by picking up the 1 2 3 by catching her with initial roll up, and things just see was good when it came to the initial quick pan or the fruit roll up,
Hmm.
what we call it in old school days. But it was decent from my own take from the women's division. I feel like that match still was a filler, but Mariah continues to keep us invested
Absolutely.
when it comes to her work, and I look
Right.
forward to seeing more when it comes to Mariah.
So I'm with you. I thought this match was decent. Um, Saraya is another. She's another enigma. Like 2 years
Yep.
ago, like her coming to the company was just as big as the Mercedes Moné signing.
It
And
was. It was.
and think about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it All In last year when she won the women's championship
Yep.
belt?
100%.
And now she's like barely in ring. It just seems like her
Not getting
presence
enough
doesn't
push.
matter.
It's been a
No, and
whole lot
it's
of turmoil, a lot of backstage politics going on. She's been pushing on social media as well with her initial frustration with everything that she had been going on. And she really has been like advocating to get more talent as well.
she should.
When it came to fans really like, hey, what's going on with Saraya? Saraya is a big household name. She's still in her
Absolutely.
prime and she's still young. Why is Tony dropping the ball when it comes to her when he initially don't need to?
Right.
Um, I initially need to
That's
see him invest it
yeah.
and wrap it around her. She's the one that she can give a lot of advice and everything. She knows how to make it happen. And honestly, she wanted to go to W, but she didn't want that schedule. She didn't want that grind anymore because she didn't
Yeah.
was just afraid of getting that injury again because that gave triggers. And now she's able to have a little bit of more creative control when it comes to everything that she initially has going on, but not really as much because she's not getting the push that she initially need to of being the leader of the locker room. And initially by showing her first, I feel like Tony kind of like had her as the favorite toy at the time being. Then when Mercedes came around, it was like, oh, let me go to the club with her. Let me go spot her out. Like example, after the win that happened in Double or Nothing, I went there the whole situation, the whole entire club
Mhm.
situation. I went there to hang out with them, and the whole situation was he was more focused on Mercedes. It wasn't about anybody else like that. He was making it like, hey, look at my new toy I got. Hey, everybody, yeah, I got Mercedes now, and it kind of like
Right.
Saraya kind of just fell flatline after the whole situation. I wish
Right.
it could have been better when it came to everything initially happened with her. But now they're just going back to their home country. Are they going to put her in a pre-show? Are they going to put her in a filler match? Because now she initially is just lost her qualifying to get a title shot. Because I initially think that they're going to have somebody else win. The only person I can know we see initially winning it out this whole entire thing of being a wild card is not Mariah May, is Mariah May, which I feel like they're gonna set up that tensions over time when it comes to her
Hmm.
and Tony Storm. That's the only thing I could see that being an initial card for the AEW Women's Championship. And then when it comes to the TBS Championship, it's already being written on the Raw that we haven't initially spoiler for you a couple guys who haven't catch the show. But Britt Baker is initially made her initial return when it came to AEW tonight, and she initially is putting it on the line initially to being out because she have really some really great pull when it comes to creative control. She can get what she want at any point in time. She's Tony Golden Girl, can't do any wrong.
Yeah,
Even if she
yeah,
talks shit, even if she backstabs somebody, Tony's going Brick 'cause she's day one original. He's one of her pillar. She's one of his pillars, and he's basically don't care what happens with Britt. Britt's gonna be number one overall, just in general. And now she's back from injury, took some time off, and now she's back. And I see her probably end up winning the championship from Mercedes at All In, which I'm probably won't be excited about seeing that of her getting her first because last year she didn't get her initial push that she wanted because Saraya ended up winning the championship in that triple threat match they had last year. And this year, things are looking lackluster. Now they're going to give her her spot because she pouted and had a tantrum last year about the whole situation and was leaking things about drama with the other girls and all stuff like that to Bleacher Report and all the other notable different content, media, social media. And that was kind of wrong on her part, but she basically
absolutely.
got a whole lot of pull when it comes to Tony Khan in general. And Tony's going to rock with her. And so she's
Yeah,
gonna end up winning the title off the Mercedes. Mercedes is gonna have it for a little bit, but then Mercedes is gonna make the jump over to the AEW side, the women's division, because she's gonna up to TBS because she's not gonna be TBS for such a long time. Because I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling about that when it comes to just that card in general for the women's title matches for the TBS championship and as well as for the AEW women's championship with the tournament, which is gonna be most likely Mariah May. I don't see anybody else notable unless they had a mystery person to take a different spot, but I don't
yeah,
necessarily see that happen. Speaking of women, we also have Natalia. Her contract is initially coming up or expired. I don't think WWE initially picked up her contract for her for a renewal. That was also a thing that was talking about this weekend. That
hmm,
Natalia may be testing the waters when it comes to free agency because she removed all her title tagline handles of WWE and all her social medias and just have a straight flat line as Natty. So it'd be kind of interesting to see Natty initially now making that jump over maybe the AEW, maybe the TNA Impact. I don't want to see her in TNA. I would love to see her to help out with the women in AEW. If she does make that free agency jump, I feel like she can help them out a lot because she's trained all the women in WWE, every single
yeah,
last one. It felt like they gave her the back seat role, but they not giving her the run as being a champion role. It's kind of like every time it was the politics, something I saw that a little bit on Total Divas, where they she kept kind of like pushing her, like, "Hey, you go train this new girl, and you go train this girl, you go train the Bellas, you go train." And Natalia Face was like, "I don't want that. I want a match. I want a title match. That's what I came
right,
for." And she comes from a lineage, great family, and it kind of sucks to see that it comes down to a point that she's been there for so long. She broke all the records of having the longest matches in WWE. I feel like she's hit her ceiling of things she can do in WWE. There's nothing else left for her because she's
right,
done everything. She just haven't
right.
won the tag team championship, but she had done everything that she can think of. Longest, most pay per views, longest, most on SmackDown, most on Raw. Had two decent title reigns when it comes to the championships. More than anything else, they kept holding her back initially getting on this run. But I literally would have had loved to see more for Natalia. But she's a true vet, and I think she can benefit from being in AEW. But she probably will be making her if she does initially get the free agency. It probably will be at All In where she initially will be making her debut to get that shock factor, and it'll be interesting to see where she goes from there because she initially is her contract hasn't been renewed back up with WWE, and they took a back seat with her because they're focusing on their newer talent, and it's kind of sucks though. But Tony doesn't need to pick up every single body, but that's one person I
Exactly.
would pick up if you're gonna have for a talent or if you're gonna have for a backstage producer. I'll pick up Natalia to focus on the women's division because she have trained every single new talent that's there in WWE 100%.
Right.
Even she trained Mercedes to get back into in ring shape after she had her initial injuries. She was the first. She went to the Hart dungeon and went there and got trained and everything like that. Same with Ethan Page. He went there to get himself in shape. Natalia's the one, the go-to person everybody goes to when it comes to
Yeah.
her and Tyson Kidd. They family initially know how to get everybody ready when it comes to professional wrestling in general.
Right, right. Nah, Natalia is definitely respected in the business. Um, I'm kind of with you. If she does not resign with WWE, the only way I would want her to come to AEW is she does come help the women's division. You know
Yep,
what I mean? But Tony needs to come on with his booking, man. Like I said, you have some amazing women on that roster, and this women's division should be a lot better. You know, like
one
okay,
hundred
Britt
percent.
coming, Britt coming back, that's big. Um, you got to figure out better booking for Saraya. You know, what I'm saying 'cause right now that booking has been terrible. I mean, to think that we have an all-in pay-per-view coming up in her hometown and she may not be on it, that's crazy to think that, man. Come on, dude.
Big
That's
time,
crazy.
and she's a big time player.
Come on,
You
man.
cannot have Saraya miss out on a card because that fan will.
And
You saw last year. Last year they popped for her, and
no,
it's
all
her
that
home.
exactly. It's her
Well,
home, man.
Ospreay's going
So
to get a
you
pop too because they're
right.
she's getting ready for attention. So I understand Will's not going to get the world title match this year because he's going to have the tensions storyline with the Don Callis family. And this,
Which I
I
think is
see them
good.
playing this.
I think it's good.
They're going to plant the seeds for him versus Kyle Fletcher, which is that's going to be a really good one. I look forward to seeing that for
I
All
agree.
In. And I know those boys can go. They have a great chemistry. They fought each other plenty of times on the independent scene, even be initial team together under their initial group. And that's not going to be a miss. That's going to be a straight hit. That's going to be a big W for Tony Khan to make that match happen and set up a feud with him. And even Takesha. I feel like Takesha can't do no wrong. I feel like he can have every single championship, and I would love to see him get a little bit more light. He did a great job tonight in the ladder match,
I did too. I
and
thought he
a
was gonna
lot of
win it.
talented.
I thought he was gonna win it. I was pushing for the hey, the fans were pushing for Takesha. It's crazy.
They were
Like
chanting for him. That was
yes,
one
you know what
thing.
I'm saying?
They were loud tonight, and they were chanting for him big time, because
Big time.
big time. And he was the bigger man of the group. He was hitting the nice spots on purpose, hitting it right. Leo Rush was the MVP as well of that
I
match,
yeah,
and
Leo
it was a
Rush was
great
very
thing
under
seeing everything and
right.
seeing Leo come back. But one thing we're going to get into that in a little bit. But initially, Leo Rush is going to be coming to his own when it comes to everything, and I look forward to seeing more. But we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the main event of the final hour, which we had Lucha Bros and Mistico taking on La Mystica, and as well as Titan. Initially, that the La Mystica is the tag team group, and
Yeah.
it was a great luchador match. A lot of back and forth. Everybody was able to hit their prime spots. Mistico was actually on beat this time. No botch spots. He did one little mishap, but initially it was good. It kept me highly invested. I enjoyed everything about this luchador match, which it needs to be on display a
Mhm.
lot more. And it was great, just in general. I enjoyed everything, including everybody was able to get off their finishers, super kicks. At least it wasn't a super priority sympathy, but I still enjoyed everything about it, just in general. It kept me invested, and I enjoyed the initial ending of the match where things initially broke down when it came to Lucha Bros initially getting that lovely victory as the Lucha Bros did um their combination finisher with that power driver, package power driver for the 1, 2, 3 with the fear factor connection. And it was a nice little feat of seeing that as they got the victory over Titan. And I want to know from you, was you feeling about this main event? I know we were talking about just a little bit, but we didn't
Yeah.
really get into full details of what you felt about that main event on 0 hour.
So I thought it was definitely the match of Zero Hour. I feel like it saved the Zero Hour. You know, it was a very fun match. You know, with the luchadors and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm a huge Lucha Bros fan. They're one of my favorite tag teams. I definitely would like to see them get a bigger push. But this match for me definitely saved Zero Hour. It made me like it made me even that much more excited for Forbidden Door, the main card. It was like, okay, this is a good way to enter into the main card in Forbidden
True.
Door. So no, I thought it was a good match. Like I said, man, the Lucha Bros in my eyes can't do too much wrong, man. So that was it was a really good match. Everybody got their stuff off. Like you said, it was very little botches in this match. You know what I'm saying? They very good chemistry, man. And yeah, it was a really good introduction into the Forbidden Door event.
And 100%. I feel like they did a phenomenal job when it came to presenting it, the showcase. But it felt like they did such a phenomenal job. I was like, are we gonna see more of this on the pay per view card? But initially they fell flat and dropped the ball on that because they had to keep that momentum going. But they initially, when it came to the beginning of the card, they had a hard time of keeping the fans highly invested when it came night. The crowding over there in Long Island was okay. It was decent for what it was, but
Yeah.
it could have been a lot more when it came to night. It felt like it wasn't as good as when it came to Double or Nothing or even last year's Full Gear and so many other notable different things that initially happened throughout AEW's pay-per-view. But AEW always are always on top of it when it comes to pay-per-views. They do such a phenomenal job. And it's never a miss when it comes to what they do. When it comes to pay-per-views, they do a phenomenal job. When it comes to television, it's like, do I want to watch? Do I not want to watch? I could miss this week, and I won't miss anything too much. I could catch up with what's going on Rampage or Dynamite or initially on Collision if I feel like checking it out. Because initially it just be a replay match after match, and they don't really follow through of what this continues with the storyline. Some storylines that get kind of missed because they jump ship it like 2 weeks later. Initially, they need to go ahead and just play it straight through. If you're going to do a storyline or a beef or a drama, play it straight through. Don't have it be a hit miss and have us wondering what initially happened, because a lot of us are going to be like, well, what's up with the programming? That's why they use the viewership. People just tune out because they don't know what's going on with the card, even though the card could be great because Tony Khan makes fantasy booking. But like, hey, but we just saw this person attack this person, and now we don't see it happen this week because you flipped the whole entire card to another fantasy booking on Dynamite, and that's where he misses in so many different ways. But of course, they need to go back to their old school days of AEW of making tag teams feel more important. They also need to make the women's division feel like the women's division again, of being the best women's division on the planet. I feel like AEW does have the best women's division, but WWE is killing it right now because AEW has been just getting too comfortable, taking a back seat. And I feel like that's where they dropped the ball on that. And I feel like they could have done such a whole better job just with that in general.
No,
But
I agree. I
and
agree.
then with the World Heavyweight Championship, they need to make Swerve feel a little bit more important. All the other champions, they give them champion celebrations and everything like that. But of course, Swerve really did his thing tonight. Initially, coming off the victory, a lot of people were concerned about initially was he going to keep the championship or not. But things could
Yes.
have been a different direction because I didn't see with everything with Will Ospreay getting double championship, because after he shitted on Don Callis family, I figured they were going to get involved some kind of way and let's see cost
Yeah.
him the initial match. After initially everything broke down with that situation, I was like, oh, I smelled it on the water after the referee went down. I was like, it's about to be on like that. I want to see
That's
the host.
you know what? So when that happened, it's funny you say that. So when that happened, right, and the ref got taken out, I'm like, okay, here's their out. I was like, here's the way Tony can book this, where both guys type of interference. Like here comes
Yeah,
some type. So um, when it didn't happen, well, Don Callis tried, but he got stopped, and then Will
and
Ospreay,
then
you
Prince
know,
Nana got involved.
yeah, exactly. So it was like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I initially thought. I was like, and it's funny because I had this conversation like all week with people because I was scared when this match was announced. I was like, are they really about to take the belt off of Swerve? Because that's where it felt. That's where it's felt. It's like, you know what I mean? So I was hoping that we would have interference, and I was hoping the person that would interfere was Hangman.
Yep, that'd be
That was
interesting.
because Hangman whole thing when he went heel and he was him and Swerve were having this battle. So, Hangman was like, I don't really care about the belt right now. I just don't want you to have it. Now that Swerve has it, it's like I know what this belt means to you, and I'm going to make
Yep.
sure to take this away from you. Like that to me would have been like the perfect angle. Like you know what I'm saying, and I still would have preferred that. You know what I mean? To be
But I
honest, I would have
see
preferred that
from
over
that
what
whole
we got.
situation, hmm
Yeah, I would have
with that
preferred that
whole
over what we got.
true, with that whole situation, I see Hangman initially making his initial return in Owen Hart Foundation tournament, which the Young Bucks said they're going to have a special guest person, Misty, making their return against Jeff Jarrett.
It's Hangman. We all kind of knew it. Like it's the worst case.
It's Hangman. He's aligned himself directly with the Elite. I see we got 25 people over on Twitter and as well on Facebook. We got a total of 30 people watching. It will be highly appreciate you guys get a thumbs up. Or if you know somebody who just love professional wrestling, feel free to share it. And just to get the algorithm up. And just don't forget to follow this young man, Jeffery Robinson, on his social media. I will have it down in the description before the end of this initial show, so you guys can chop it up at him if you want to have him initially on your show. He's really good when it comes to knowing everything and ins and outs of professional wrestling, past, present, and future. So I highly recommend for you guys to give him a big shout out and show love to his initial content. Initially, if you want to have him as a guest. And as well as I have people on YouTube as well popping in and out. Don't forget to give Hart as well. Initially, don't forget to chime in the comments. Initially, after the show, obviously we'll come through and initially just chop it up, carry a conversation with you guys back and forth, and go from there. But let's go ahead and get into the initial card of everything. We had the first initial match of the night. We had Hechicero taking on MJF. This match was a lot of back and forth. I enjoyed everything about it, including all the back and forth, the technical wrestling. The suplexes, MJF, I felt like he was really flat on his initial match, but he got the pinfall with the vertical brainbuster, which is he got the pinfall after he hit that beautiful heat seek. Well, he was trying to go for the Panama Sunrise and then hit that lovely brainbuster for the pinfall, kind of hinting at him and Adam Cole are going to battle at All In. So what is your thoughts about that whole situation?
First of all, the initial match, I'm not gonna lie with you, I felt like that was a filler match at first. I was like, if there was not too much content there, it was like, okay, this is a Forbidden Door match, you know what I mean? Filler, you know what I mean? The actual match, I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? I personally wouldn't have booked that match to be the opening match for Forbidden Door.
No, I would have given a little bit more time.
I would let that match breathe a little more, you know what I mean? Especially with
it's his hometown, it's Long Island.
MJF's the hometown kid, man.
And they weren't hot for him tonight. It felt kind of flat. They weren't hot like last year's run. This year felt a little flat this year in Long Island. They weren't really giving the prop like he used to have when he was on that lovely hot run as the world champion. And I feel like when he came back, it kind of fell flat a little bit. I feel like it fell off the rails a little bit when it came to interest with MJF, even though he's taking that persona being a lone wolf and everything like that, and said he's playing no games, a little bit more serious, and initially getting ready for his battle with Adam Cole, because Adam Cole should be cleared to go for All In, and that's going to be his initial opponent, initially with them trying to figure out the whole situation with the Undisputed Kingdom, and they're feeling flat right now as well with I don't know what's going on with that drama. Hey man, they were here 1 minute and now they disappeared, and then they came back tonight on the filler show.
That Undisputed Kingdom thing was a big failure, man. I'll be honest with you.
Like a dumpster fire.
Like the initial build up was really dope, and then the unveil, we all knew it was Adam Cole, but the unveiling was very, very mid, and then afterwards it was terrible. Where is what's the name at? Where's what's
Wardlow?
Wardlow. Where's Wardlow? Well, we haven't seen Wardlow in
lost to the Kingdom after that initial drama happened. It's just a loss.
That was
I
bad.
feel like Wardlow's getting ready. I feel like Wardlow's getting ready to head out that door as well. Going to WWE.
I think so too.
He looks.
I think him and Ricky Starks are the two main guys that's probably going to head over to WWE.
Yep, I feel like Buddy Matthews and as well as Malakai Black, along with Ricky Starks and Wardlow, are going to be heading to WWE. Wardlow's built for WWE, and I feel like his body is built to look like WWE. Same when it came to Brian Cage. I thought he would initially going to make that jump over too, but he re-signed back with AEW for another 5 years, which I was surprised that he signed a max deal contract. I would have thought it would have been a 2 or maybe a 3 year just to give him some time so he could figure out where he could fill in. So some of the stars from NXT can get that main event jump so he can jump in the case of NXT. But it's kind of interesting to see where that initially may happen. And I want to see more when it comes to if talent want to go, let them go. Don't have him sitting at home doing the dirty catering style of, hey, I'm here catering, eating some great fettuccine alfredo, but I'm not even getting a damn match, so I might as well just get fat until it's time for me to go, and then when it's on the road, then I'm gonna get myself in super shape, and then people are like, oh, you look like the best you ever wrestled. Like, yeah, I've been eating good, eating like a king, but sitting at home majority of the time. Or they just fly me in and say, hey, you may be on the card, you may not be on the card, and that just throws a whole lot of people off, just in general, just from my own personal opinion. And Warlow feel like a lost shuffle. I feel like he's on his way out. Ricky Starks as well. Buddy Matthews, now he's initially officially married. We know he's going to go to WWE so he can be on the same dates and roster with his wife so they can go on the same show each and every single week. But I feel like he's going to be lost like Andrade, which Andrade should have stayed in AEW. He was just about to get his spot and become the world champion, but he was too busy trying to run back to Charlotte Flair and head over there because he didn't like his position that he was in temporarily. But he had it good. He had a stable that initially had with Roosh and so many great things that initially could have got off the ground. But initially he wanted to be on his own, and they kind of had him a little bit when it came to so many notable things with Miro as well, which feel like a lost shuffle, being on the injured list. Same when it comes to Keith Lee, which is another one that I think maybe going back to WWE pretty soon because he wants to be with his wife as well. So it's a lot of talent that they're really dropping the ball on just in general, from my own personal opinion. And they need to find the sweet spot of getting these people back on television the way they need to be. And with Swerve, he can have Keith Lee come in as be his big man. They make up. It could be his bodyguard or something like that, and just carry out things. I would love to see Keith Lee as a heel. We have not seen Keith Lee as a heel yet. We've seen him with the soft talking whatever style, but if he just come there, just do what he needed to do, leave, not Bearcat style, but more so straight up, just straight, firm, serious, do what he needed to do, show his athleticism, and just leave. Just straight up, just like run, just dominate folks, kind of like Warlow, do what he needs to do, and just hit that pop-up power bomb, and good night, see you later, I'm leaving the ring, no talking, no nothing, and he become a dominant heel, just from my own personal opinion.
That's a good point. That would definitely be a good booking move, because like you said, we never seen Keith Lee as a heel, and I feel like he's super stale right now. We haven't seen Keith. Have we seen Keith Lee in 2024? I
Keith
can't
Lee
recall.
has been injured. He's been injured since February. Initially, he's supposed to be in that big man, battle royal, whatever. He was, Tony Khan was trying to do that big man monster mash, whatever match, similar like the ECW when he had the WECW style, when he had all those big men in all one match. And I feel like that was just a lackluster, kind of like a drop. And I did not want to see that. I'm like, come on, I want to see all your big men in one match. And this, you had to change the card to a ladder match or whatever. I forgot that match was a 6-pack or 8-man pack challenge, and you had to have a mix of stars because some of your men were injured, and you didn't even follow up with them to find out if they were injured or not. And that's where you dropped the ball, and things could have been better when it came to just things in general.
Absolutely. No, absolutely,
But
man. But to go back to your original question about the MGF booking tonight,
yep,
I just think that match shouldn't have been first, just for that reason alone. That MGF is the hometown kid, like let that breathe a little more. I feel like they didn't give that chance.
100%.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't have been the first match. But overall, I thought it was a cool match.
Yeah, from my point take, from out of 5 stars, I give it maybe a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I feel like it was just like very mid.
I think I'll give it a 3. I think I'll give it a 3.
Yep, we give it a 3.
Yeah.
Officially, it felt like that. It felt like really flat when it came to that match.
Yeah.
Then we have the next match on the card. Appreciate you guys still tuning in. We have the Hiroshi Tanahashi, the AEW president, with the Acclaimed, taking on the Elite of Okada, Matthew Jackson, and Nicholas Jackson. A big take point of this initial match is Anthony Bowens and Max Passer came out for their match, and their entrance, they really hit some key points. They talked about Justin Timberlake. They got on about Donald Trump. They got on about President Biden. They really seeked that in there, and a couple of other different little hidden Easter eggs, and it had me rolling and dying. I know some people back on the internet community was like, "Well, he talking about the president. How you feel about it?" I'm like, man, the presidency when it comes to social media, just in general, I feel like the presidency right now is just a whole big reality show. I don't care who president is. The House of Representatives and the Senate control everything. The president is just the face. He don't do anything. He don't control anything. He's just there just to make things look pretty. Nothing gets approved by the House or the Senate. So initially, that's where you initially need to figure out, make sure y'all voting for it. Not the president. You need to be voting for the House or the Senate. The president could send a bill off and it gets rejected. So that's just my personal opinion. If you guys want to get deep in that about the real reality of who controls the country, president has no say. He may get some stuff pulled if he has a majority of a House or the majority Senate, or if they're on the same page with that and they say, okay, we can make that happen because they're billionaires. They don't care what happens to the country. They making their money. They living on their white picket fence and they got their lovely green grass and they chilling. They getting paid every single week. So when it comes to that situation, when they making jokes about their president or anybody, Tony Khan, Vince McMahon, I'll sit there and laugh my ass off and not take it serious. So it's a joke at the end of the day. It was a battle rap what he did. And it kept us highly invested, and I was entertained when it came to Max Caster, just in general.
Absolutely.
He's always pulling those strings, and he knew exactly the right spots where to hit the strings, and it was cool.
No, I like the dope thing about that, about the Matt Castle spot is because, you know, we like the last few weeks we haven't been able to get it because the young bucks been hating. Every time he starts the Western and they turn off his mic. So it was like refreshing to us to finally get that. I was like, oh, okay, finally, we get this. And he hit us with a smooth freestyle, so it was dope. The match itself, I thought it had some good spots, but it was, it has some really, really good spots. It has some really good moments. I just like if there's a build up from this, like because I know the Acclaim.
Yes, their Acclaim is going to get tag team championships.
Yeah, so if it's like continue the storyline, I'll like this angle more if they actually continue to build on this. The match itself, I would give it about a 3.5. Like I said, it has some really good moments. I personally don't like the Young Bucks. I think they're a bunch of douchebags. But
in the beginning, I loved them when they were Generation Me and TNA. I enjoyed their work, and as well as when they was in Ring of Honor, the original Ring of Honor, they did some great work. But once we started really seeing their prick style of them being real, like straightforward pricks, I was like, you saw seeing more of behind the scenes style of who they are. It was like, even when I met up with them and hung out with them or whatever, I was like, they're okay for what it is. They felt still immature, and they are young, so it is what it is. And they go have that mentality.
But in ring, you can't front on them. Their in ring, it works, speaks for itself. They're really good in ring workers. I thought Tony dropped the ball with the Acclaim when he prematurely took the belts off of them. I mean, come on now. A year and a half ago, the Acclaim was one of the hottest things in wrestling, period. Didn't matter what promotion. That's how hot the Acclaim were. So I feel like Tony dropped the ball with them. So he needs to right that wrong. But like I said, overall, I thought it was I'll give it 3.5 stars. It was entertaining. It was entertaining. Like I'm glad that's what honestly that match could have opened up the show for me. It could open the show. That
should have been the opener, 100%. I would have been okay. I would have been cool with the Elite coming out, being pricks, coming out, starting to show off, getting the crowd kind of booed, people gonna keep them on their toes, and I would have been okay with that Okada spot. Of course, getting ready to do the notable rain pose and then hit the middle finger at everybody, and that was kind of funny too. But the Claim, of course, continued to be on hot cylinders. But initially, the ending happened with the Claim and losing the match as of course Okada hit up a lovely Rainmaker, taking out Tanahashi, and of course they kind of played off of him selling like he got injured, and initially maybe going away from in ring, and initially now focusing behind the stage, as they kept hinting at that, like, oh, something wrong with his neck and everything like that. And of course he was escorted out with Daddy Ass and Acclaim, of course, after losing that initial match. But things can still be in progress, and I'd love to see if he does initially maybe ending his career as when it comes to in-ring performer, I wouldn't be disappointed. He had a notable great career when he came to New Japan, but I wouldn't want him to go out like this. I'd rather for him to go out like at Wrestle Kingdom or something like that than to be his farewell tour and do it that way if they're initially heading toward that. That's what the commentators were kind of kept pushing and kind of hinting at. Like, oh, is this the end of Tanahashi? Yada, yada. I'm like, no, man, just have him do his farewell tour, old school way of tradition, and he just go there and be the president and then make things happen. Suit and tie, chill, and enjoy his life in the sunset of having a great just life in general.
No, I agree. I agree.
Then we got ready for the actual match, which I felt like was really good, but I felt like it was still a filler. We had the Owen Hart Cup quarterfinals. We had American Dragon Bryan Danielson taking on Shingo Takahashi, which I felt like that was hard hitting, straight back and forth. Shingo really get delivered when it came to all his notable moves. It made us really feel more invested of knowing who he is. But of course, Bryan Danielson was selling a lot of the injuries that he was going through after the nice prop spots and everything initially happened. Things initially broke down when it came to the ending of the match of Bryan Danielson initially getting the initial pinfall with a verbal submission, which the commentators claimed they said that initially happened with Bryan Danielson hitting a lovely finisher, kind of like a Fujiyama armbar, kind of hidden variant version of it. And initially, the big man initially tapped out verbally, and I give this maybe a 3.5 stars as well. I feel like it could have been better, but initially Bryan Danielson was selling like he was still injured, and he's got to work his way. But initially, I feel like he's going to be the one to initially win that tournament when it comes to the Owen Hart tournament. I feel like he's the man, and he initially has Pac next, which Pac is going to be a tough one.
That's going to be a great match. Pac can go. Pac in ring is amazing. Like like I said earlier, I'm a big Lucha Bros fan, and I'm an even bigger Death Triangle fan. Like when they all three are together, like honestly, that best of seven series versus Death Triangle and the Elite was one of my
Yep.
favorite. You know, and it's funny because me and you went to that forum show with
Yep.
the seventh match, and that was one of the
Yep.
greatest matches I've actually had the pleasure of watching in person. That was like so dope. But I'm with you. I thought this match was good. Bryan Danielson, I feel like he's one of the best performers of his generation. You know,
True.
even at this event, advanced age he can go. Um, I wasn't all that familiar with his opponent. I mean, you know, I had to like look him up and stuff like that, and I
100%.
understand
A
where
lot of people
he can
had
go
to.
to. Exactly, and that's what's like okay, like you know, but no, it was a really good match. A little more than a filler for me, you know what I'm saying? Like it was hard to be invested as far as like, okay, I know this is for the Owen Hart tournament and this is not gonna go anywhere else as far as like, you know, once they're done, you know, my man to go back to New Japan and then Bryan
Mm-hmm.
Danielson's gonna move on. So I just took it for okay, this is just good in the ring. So with the in the ring, I'm with you. I give it 3.5. I thought it was good,
Yep.
and I'm with you. I think Bryan Danielson is going to win this tournament, and I think it's going to be Bryan Danielson, Swerve, and
Versus
all in.
Swerve. Yep.
I
It's
think
going
that's
to
going to
happen,
be
and then they're going to initially have the next. They're going to have the recap of him versus eventually probably at All Out. Not All In, but All Out. They're going to have him versus against Will Ospreay. They're going to initially have that reinvestment because that initially is going to be initially Bryan Danielson's initial lights out where he initially is going to go away for being a part time. That's initially supposed to be his because it's going to be in Seattle. So initially that's
yeah,
going to be initially him retiring temporarily. He said he's going to be come back to AEW part time, but his full time days is going to be ended at All Out. So if a lot of people are not familiarized with that, then initially either it's going to happen there or it's going to happen at Wrestle Dream. One of those two pay-per-views will initially be the turning point where he faces Will Ospreay again, and Will Ospreay is going to be the one to end his full-time career when it comes to professional wrestling. But what are you feeling about that, just in general? You feeling like that's going to initially happen, or you feel like Brian is going to step it
I,
up a
I
little bit? Because he
I can
said,
see that. I can see that. He said this year is going to be his last year going full time, and to me, that just booking wise makes sense. Like I said, I think he's definitely going to win this tournament. And it's crazy because the 3 years that Brian we've had Bryan Danielson in AEW, he's had some phenomenal matches. I thought the work he did with, MJF was amazing. You know,
Yep.
it's just he's had phenomenal matches, but he is yet to win a belt. And even though I hate it's going to be at the detriment of Swerve, I can see Bryan Danielson winning that belt. And then All In, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure if he drops the belt to Will Ospreay, and then we get Ospreay versus Swerve again. I don't know, but I feel like before he shuts it down on a full-time basis, I think Bryan Danielson's going to get it.
Yep. But the person I think that's going to take the championship off of Will Ospreay is going to be Takahashi. I feel like that's going to be the notable guy for the Don Callis family as he continue to keep the feud going. So Takahashi may be the one to take the Continental Championship directly off of Will Ospreay, and not the Intercontinental, but the International. And initially, that's going to set Will Ospreay to be able to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to be the number one guy moving forward, probably from October all the way to the following New Year, and go from there. As MJF is going to be still climbing his way back up. Initially, they're going to probably end up battling sometime in December, probably lead up towards Full Gear or something like that. But I don't see MJF coming off with the victory. He probably won't be getting the championship again until 2025 because he initially is signed for 5 years max deal. So MJF still has some notable time before he initially become a world champion again. But I don't see it happen this year initially with the beef he's got with Adam Cole and so many different things. But he is going to get his first title match at Full Gear. Initially, it's not going to be in LA, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like it needs to be in LA. But they're initially going to, because LA crowd has always been very, very, very great crowd when it comes to Full Gear. Last year, Full Gear was great. Just in general, the crowd atmosphere, the energy, everybody being loud. It was loud when it came to that Hangman and Swerve match. That match initially, match of the night, kept everybody invested. People were even chanting when we left the arena. They were still talking about it. The post show, they had a high viewership as well when it came to that initial post show as well, and it did a great job. Just in general,
man. For me. Full Gear saved the disappointment of Double or Nothing.
Yes, it did.
Double or Nothing was really, really bad last year. And I feel like Full Gear was so good. Like we were hearing rumors and we were talking about this that, Tony was thinking about making Full Gear LA Full Gears,
full time. He was talking about that. He was talking about making a permanent home. Because he talked about that and he talked about that initially.
Yeah, because
he talked to the LA crowd.
Yeah,
and people were surprised. So he kind of backtracked.
Absolutely, and it's surprising that he's taking it. He's taking it. From us, and it's like, dude, you've always got love in LA, man. Like always, like the shows in LA are always phenomenal. So I'm a little surprised by that. Hopefully, next year we'll get Full Gear back in LA.
Or maybe even a bigger show. Maybe Wrestle Dream, maybe one of those shows.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But okay, so real quickly, I know we got to go on to the next match, but real quickly, so I thought last year AEW's best pay-per-view was All In, followed by
yes, it was
by a close second Full Gear. So it's starting to feel like All In is going to be AEW's main show of the year. It's like their version of Mania. It seems like All In.
Yes, it is. That's gonna be it.
And I'm good with that. But I would love Tony to get rid of All Out because I don't think he lets the show breathe because it's literally a week after. It's like we're still buzzing from what we just saw in All In, and then you turn around a week later and give us All Out. That's way too soon, man. That show is stepping on All Out, All In. You know what I mean? We don't.
It steps on everything
later. Exactly, man. It's like we don't even get to fully digest what we just saw from All In, and I feel like this show All In this year is going to be freaking amazing. So it's like he needs to really think about either revamping All Out or just totally dumping it. And most people I talk to, they don't care for All Out. Like I honestly
don't.
I don't remember anything from All Out. I don't remember anything from All Out last year. I don't remember anything.
I don't either.
So we can do without All Out. But yeah, I just want to say that. Yeah.
I feel like he put a dumpster fire and kind of just shitted on All Out, which I feel like he initially needs to make it breathe in that week of August through September because
Yeah,
we have All In, then a week later we have All Out, then 2 weeks later we have Wrestle Dream. So it throws
too
everything up
much.
like that's
Too
too many
much.
pay-per-views and everybody gonna be hitting 50 bucks back to back.
Come
Then you
on,
want people to
man.
attend the show on top of that. So they're like, wait, I'm gonna dump some more money after I just flew from All Out, and then out there you want me to go to All In. If I came from All In, then you want me to go All Out too on top of that in Chicago,
Exactly.
and then initially going to Wrestle Dream, which is gonna be in Seattle. So initially things are just gonna be it's like all over the place, and a lot of people are just gonna be like, "What are you doing, Tony? You kind of need to let it breathe a little bit, so people get their funds back up, even if people do have the money,
Exactly.
but initially just kind of spread it up so people will be
Spread it out,
invested
man.
and
Yeah, I
people will
agree.
watch the shows."
Totally
But the
agree
pay per
with you.
views always do a great job because he makes a fantasy booking. But my only concern when it comes to everything is spread out the matches. But initially, he is when they come to the WB to from the Warner Brother Discovery streaming service. But don't worry about the Warner Brother Discovery service. Kind of like do it now. You ain't gotta wait for them. Initially, if you're gonna initially spread it out, then spread it out. But my own personal opinion, I don't think AEW needs to have 12 pay-per-views a year. I think
I
they need
don't
to
either.
focus on maybe have six and now be cool with
That's it.
that. Because then you can have every
That's
two
it.
and a half months or 3 months, you can have a pay per view. Because then I can spread it out, let it breathe a bit, build a storyline, and you can have a
Yeah.
little bit of storyline, mix it up on Collision or even as well in Dynamite. Then we can have a pay per view follow up maybe a couple months later, and then that can let everything breathe, and you still will keep the viewership going. You want to be an alternative for WWE. Don't necessarily turn into WWE because fans are just going to turn the screen as like, why I need to watch this? I already watched WWE. I don't need to watch AEW because WWE's already there. They're already doing the same thing. Don't do what WWE is doing, and people initially will watch. I already know some couple superstars do initially watch my show and everything like that because they have contact me, say, hey, like, what are you doing, whatever like that. But initially, if you talk to Tony, tell him directly, like, yo, Tony, spread it out a little bit. Just my personal opinion. And I'm pretty sure he initially will get to it, but he needs to spread it out, break it up a little bit, let stuff breathe so people become invested into your product.
Absolutely.
But don't shit
Absolutely.
on other people's products. Don't worry about what the other competition is doing because that's initially it's not going to get you over. We don't care about that. We care about you being an
At all.
alternative. Go back to the golden days where people
Exactly.
really was excited and wanted to attend AEW. This year when I went to Double or Nothing, it was a full out, sold out show in Vegas. They did a great job. They went to a smaller venue, which is smart. Instead of
That's
them
smart.
going over to the T-Mobile Arena, they went to the MGM Grand, which was a great idea. So it made it feel full because one, a lot of people weren't going to fill out the T-Mobile Arena. It's a big arena, and Vegas knew they learned from their lesson from last year. Where last year they had so many empty seats because people just was not
Yeah.
Vegas in Vegas, and people were just
Yeah.
here for a good time in Vegas. Vegas initially isn't that hot spot where people really want to go to a pay per view. If they go like, oh, I'm gonna go to a show, then I'm just gonna go for to be for a casual fan. Most people I talked to, they were casual fans and they were just hopefully in the area and they saw that a wrestling show was on that night because they initially went to a Golden Knights game that following night as well. And then they were like, oh, AEW's in town, so I could just go across the street and go hang out and go see All In. I mean, not Double or Nothing. And that's to see how it was. A lot of people were just hanging out with their network buddies or billionaires and decided to go have a good time.
Right.
And it could have been better in one situation, but hopefully it does get better just in general, just from my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you.
let's go ahead and get into the rest of the show. We have Mina Sakuraba taking on Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Heavyweight Championship, with Mariah May playing the fiddle of being in the middle. She initially started off the initial show by giving them both flowers and bowing to as respect, similar to New Japan style. And things in this match initially was a back and forth, great match just in general. I give this one maybe a 3.8 out of 5. It could have been a little bit higher, but the women's division did really good when it comes to Mina. Mina is really great. I feel like she could be a great addition to AEW as well. She can speak English. She is entertaining when it comes to her boob shaking and everything else like that. And that's just her big trademark. And she's funny and she's entertaining. When it comes to other Asians that we have directly on our initial broadcast, when it comes to Carter Shida or anybody else, I feel like they felt kind of like flat, but they need to find their their niche. The initially will get them over, then become a little bit more involved into the American market. But in general, this match was decent for what it was, as Tony Storm ended up picking the victory with a Storm Zero. The post match was the entertaining part, where initially they all hugged it out with respect. Initially, now are initially all friends, and they had a trios kiss, which that was the biggest boost of the night when it came to already up to 10 million views just on AEW in general. I looked it up directly on their markets. They already dropped it, and that probably got the biggest thing of the night. Talking about that, what a bang to end Pride Week, well, Pride Month, by having a trios kiss. And I saw everybody was talking about initially about that match, even though they got distracted of forgetting about the match. But it was decent for what it was when it came to Tony Storm and everybody being involved in this initial match. As we initially are going to see that turn, as Mariah May is initially going to turn on Tony Storm, and that's going to be something that's going to be great for television. But I know that Tony can go, and as well as know Mariah May can go as well. If you looked at her initial work when it comes to New Japan, and I look forward to seeing more of this unfolding storyline drama, of seeing where it goes from there. I know initially either Tony Storm's going to turn on her or Mariah's going to turn. One of those two are going to turn on each other, and I see that initially happening. But Tony's great as being a heel, even though they're trying to make her a face now. Initially, after that happened when she had the match against Serena Deeb at Double or Nothing, but I prefer Tony Storm to be a heel. She's better as a heel. She does such a phenomenal job. And that's why I prefer to see when it comes to Tony Storm. What is your take about this initial match?
Um, this initial match, I thought it was fun. Tony Storm is a person, man. I was a big fan of her when she was doing her NXT days. I thought it was a huge signing with AEW when she came over, and I feel like she had got a little stagnant with her work with the Outcast. I thought that was a little, the whole Outcast thing. It's like we've seen this angle before. It's like,
Hmm.
but I love the work she's doing with the timeless Tony Storm. Like she's making that work. Like she's amazing with that. Like Tony Storm is really really dope. Um, I would like to see her booked a little stronger. Like I feel like the AEW women roster have some really really amazing women, and I feel like as far as like booking wise, she could be booked better. You know what I mean, in matches and stuff like that. So, I'm looking forward to her having better booking. But I thought this match was good. I would give it a solid, I'll give it a solid 3.5.
Yes, like a 3.5. I feel the same way as well. When it come to everything, I feel like it was initial 3.5 when it came to everything that initially happened. And Tony can be booked a little bit better, just my own personal opinion. But I feel like they really dropped the ball when it comes to Tony and just the momentum of where they initially fit with her. But I feel like this match was initially was a filler title match because they had nobody available at the time being. Now that initially they could have used so many more notable people on the roster, but I understand the storyline just way how they mix it up when it came to Mariah and Mina and Tony Storm as well being involved, and of course with Mariah trying to figure out which direction to go. But more importantly, it's going to be interesting. I guess they're going to take us on a little roller coaster to see what happens, notably in the near future when it comes to everything. Tony Storm continues to find her niche, but they're trying to make it a face, and I don't think being a face is the right move for her. But they need to pick it up because she's the woman. She's the woman AEW Women's Champion, and I feel like they really need to find out what they're going to be doing with her in the long run.
Oh, say that again, bro.
I said just in general, they need to find out what they're going to be doing. Can you hear me?
You good? I can hear you.
Okay. But initially, they need to find out what they're initially going to do with her and find their niche when it comes to Tony Storm just in general. They really just have been dropping the ball, just from my own personal opinion.
I
But
agree with you
hopefully
on that.
they initially find it out. But Tony continue to rack up the wins. This doesn't hurt Mina in the long run. She's gonna do her thing still in New Japan, of doing her thing initially. Hopefully she'll come over to AEW to be a little bit more of our entertainment side. Maybe have off a collision on occasion. But we have so many notable talent that's still here, including Sky Blue, including Queen Anamanata, and so many other talent that's really missing under the card that could have got a title match. And then initially we do have Julia Hart turning, but she won't be returning until maybe most likely Wrestle Dream around there. So they should be off a little bit. She will be missing All In this year, but hopefully she'll still be able to be around like a valet style. and she don't have to miss action. She can still be there with Sky Blue and help her out, listening to their friends, or even House of Black whenever they initially come back to full strength, and with the trios action, and initially go to battle when it comes to everything initially in the near future. But let's go ahead and get into this next match. It's Orange Cassidy taking on Zack Sabre Jr. I feel like this match was one of the matches of the night. This was a go-to
Great.
match. Hard hitting, strong style, everything under the sun. These boys kept us on our toes. Initially, I'll give props to both of them. They initially kept us highly invested into this initial match. The initial win came with Zack Sabre Jr. really showing us what he really can do in the ring. I know a lot of people weren't familiar with him, but Zack is a go-to guy that you really know he can go. Orange Cassidy always be into his own, and I always look forward to seeing what Orange Cassidy does each and every single week. And you know
Yeah.
you're not missing anything when it comes to him, just in general. Initially, Zack Sabre got the win by via submission with a deathlock arm trap bow arrow. He initially just tied him up like a pencil, and Orange Cassidy had to initially tap out. The initially, my opinion, I feel like this match was a 4.2 out of 5. It was close to a 5, but it was still like on the lower end of 4, like up there. But initially, it kept me invested, and I'd like to know what you felt about this match.
So I'm with you. Let's start this off. I thought this was an amazing match. I thought like for me, it was if it wasn't for the main event, I thought this was gonna be my. I thought this was match of the night. This was match of the night for me. If it
Yep.
wasn't for the main event, like it was like Orange Cassidy. It's funny because I thought Orange Cassidy 2 years ago at Forbidden Door with him and Will Ospreay stole the show.
Yes.
Like they stole the show. It was that match was so, and that was my introduction to Will Ospreay. I was like, man, who is this dude? Like he can go. That match was incredible. So, so this match right here with Zack Sabre, man, it was if this was like your first introduction to him, it was an
Hmm.
amazing introduction. Like that dude is one of the most, he's one of the best technical wrestlers. So it's funny because 2 years ago at Forbidden Door, we were supposed to get him and Brian Danielson, and Brian Danielson got hurt.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get that match, and it never came to fruition because Brian Danielson got hurt right before Forbidden Door. But
True.
this was an amazing match, man. Technical, like some of the moves from a technical standpoint, I personally had never seen before. Like a lot of stuff they were doing, like that, like it was just amazing, dude. And I thought him and Orange did a great job of selling moves and selling spots, man. I thought like for me, this was easily a 4.5 star match, man. It was really good, man.
It was really good. I really enjoyed
Yes,
it. It kept me highly invested, and I enjoyed this match all the way down to the end. And it was great to see how things just see made with the twists and turns. Especially, they really showcased a really lot of technical wrestling tonight. It kept me highly invested with
same,
this
yeah,
initial match.
yeah.
Orange Cassidy really showed he can really go, and he showed like he's outside his gimmick. He could do so many notable great things, and a lot of
Oh,
people
Orange is a star, man.
know
He's a star,
he's a
man. Like,
star
yeah,
100%,
yeah.
and he can go to the
He
moon
can
and
go.
back just in
Yeah,
general.
yeah. No, Orange is dope, man. I've been a big fan of Orange, man, since the early AEW days, man. And every like he,
Yep,
he can make so much stuff work, man. So he he does it so effortless. You know what I mean? Like
true,
it's just that dude is just he's a special guy, man. So this match for me, man, like I said, if it went out from the main event, this would be match of the night for me. Like I said, man, 4.5 stars, easy. To me, this was the second best match of the night, and it wasn't even close.
true, big facts. Then we got ready for the next matches. Hook and Kurajiri Shibata and Samoa Joe taking on Jeff Cobb and the Learning Tree. Big Bill and Chris Jericho. This
All
match
right, all right,
was
hold up.
like it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, yeah, hold up, hold up. We not even gonna spend that much time on this match. And respectfully, okay,
Yep,
okay. I'm gonna give flowers before we get into the rest of it.
yep,
Samoa Joe is one of my favorite wrestlers. Like that dude is amazing. Samoa Joe is that dude from an athletic standpoint. The things that he can do at his size is phenomenal, man. I've never seen
yep.
anyone his size to be able to do the things he can do. I'm a big fan of Shibata. I think Shibata is really, really dope. You know what I mean? And I'm a fan of Hook, but I feel like Hook is stuck. Like he's just it's stale
He's
right now
lost.
because
Yep,
yeah, they're trying to figure it out and they're hoping something sticks because it's like this pairing with Samoa Joe is just so random, dude. It's like
it
I mean
was
it's just so random, man. It's like okay, and then like Jericho to me is one of the goats. Jericho is absolutely in my top 10
100%.
of all time, and Jericho's another guy. He makes anything work. I don't think there's been
Every single
anybody
gimmick.
I don't think there's been anybody in this business that has, reinvented themselves more than Chris Jericho. Every time he does it, it's money. It's money.
He
So, I
prints
mean,
money.
yeah, exactly. Like Jericho is just money. But this learning tree thing, I'm not a big fan of it,
It's on
man.
a, and I'm
I'm
not
not
a
a
fan of
big
it. It's
fan
on
of
a
it,
whole new
man.
level
It's just
of what he.
it's like a watered down version of JAS. It's
Yes, it
just
is.
yeah, I'm
The
not a big fan
Jericho
of it.
Appreciation Society.
Yeah, man.
Jericho's
It's like,
had so many gimmicks, so many different
but
things.
this learning tree thing saying it's not clicking for me, man. And so the match itself, I thought it was okay. It definitely should not have been after, and I think that hurt it too because it was after the Orange Cassidy Jack
Yep,
Harper Jr. match.
that
So
that
it to
killed the
me, it
momentum.
was like it killed it because it was like we just saw this, and now you're giving us this. It was like,
Yep.
so honestly, the match itself, man. This is me being generous. I'll give it 3 stars, man. I really want to give it 2.5, but just for the legends that we have in this match, I'll give it a 3. But honestly, it's a match I could have done without.
It was a 3 star from as well from myself take when it came to everything that she happened. I felt like that gimmick is a dumpster fire. Jericho need to burn it, something like that. The fans, the noticeable part of the night was the territory was really just against it as well. Initially, they were chanting "Please retire," and Jericho got on the mic and initially expressed himself and got on the mic and says, "Hey, I'm born and raised from here. What do you guys get on me for?" He was trying to switch the narrative of everything initially happened, but
Right,
that wasn't
right.
enough to get the chant. But people were just talking about him retire. They were initially telling him retire that gimmick. They didn't like the gimmick whatsoever. They were just
It
turned
sucked.
off. So he didn't get the
Yeah, it
point
sucked.
of them saying,
Yeah,
"Please retire the gimmick. We don't like it." And they weren't talking about his in-ring work. Jericho can go, but initially, when it comes to just the gimmick, people were just not feeling it. And when it comes to Big Bill, I feel like he could be a dominant heel similar to Lance Archer. I would love to see them pair up as a tag team, and that'd be something different. I would love to see seeing him, just seeing two giants kind of similar like Big Show and Kane, kind of like just being dominant, but more on a serious level. That would be something to happen. And have Jake the Snake Roberts be their manager. That would be something I'll be more interested in seeing Big Bill being involved with Lance Archer and just have him just dominate the tag team division, being the two big monsters on there, just destroying people, or being guns to hire and just take out people. Basically, like AOP kind of style. Basically, you
right.
need our services. We'll be here to take care of your
There you
problem
go.
and solve it and go from there. And a lot of people were like, that would be
Mercenaries
kind
for
of cool.
hire. Yeah,
Yep,
mercenaries for hire.
guns for hire, big man, because they're not used for anything else. So why not use them for guns for hire? If you need to take out somebody, you got to pay them good money, and they come and do your dirty work. And I'll be highly
Yeah.
interested in seeing that initially with the group, because right now they have nothing for Lance Archer, and I feel like he just being used for when they need fillers as well. I'm like, put those two together, and that'd be a good one. When it comes to Brian Keefe, he felt like the odd one in that Jericho group,
He does.
but
He does.
it is what it is. And then Jericho just doing this whole smiling and waving. I'm not investing to it. It felt like it was just mid for most part. But I give it a 3 out of 5 stars just in general for this match. But it is what it is. Nishi Hook got the victory by hitting that Jericho Judas Effect directly on Chris Jericho, picked the victory over the legend. And it
Yeah.
still just fell flat when it comes to everything because they're building up to the FTW match against Hook again when it comes to All In. And I'm not sure I'm going to be invested when they go at it again. They need to find something to change for it. And the FTW championship does not need to be a part of AEW. Just get rid of the championship. You already got the Continental Championship. You already got the International Championship. That's all you need.
That's it.
Initially, you would need a television championship that you would need to have on everyday television, which is the TNT Championship. Change it from TNT Give it an actual call it the television championship. Would be cool with that. So I'm kissing TNT's ass and WB's ass, just for my own personal opinion. Just change those championships up to notable television. Call the TBS championship the television women's champion. Call the AEW TNT championship television. And so no matter what show or company, wherever you ship on your television programming, people will initially continue to be invested when it comes to
Absolutely.
the prestigious of the championship. And then it could be featured every week and people will be interested when it comes to open challenges.
Absolutely.
But let's get into the ladder match, the next official match on the card. Dante Martin, El Phantasmo, which people call ripoff Jake Paul, and scapegoat Jack Perry, Koniska Tateshka, Leo Rush, and Mark Briscoe. What is your thought on initially on this initial match?
It was fun. It was fun. This was definitely a match where it was big spots. I thought the one of the biggest spots for me is when Mark Briscoe flipped off the chair and landed on Takesha on the ladder. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the big spots. One of my favorite spots, and what's the name? It wasn't one of the biggest, but one of my favorite. And it was like this dude is dumb because I'm a huge Dante Martin fan. I think that kid can go.
You can
Um,
go.
when he jumped through the ropes on the other side and like drop kicked the guy, but it's like it was so quick. If you blinked, you would have missed it. But he literally
Blink of the eye,
jumped
you would have missed
through.
it because
Yeah,
he's so
it
quick.
was like it was like oh my god, that's amazing. So to me, this was a really fun match. A lot of good spots. I give this a 3.5 as well. It would have got a 4 for me if I don't like Jack Perry with the belt.
Yeah,
I just 'cause to me it's more now to me it looks more like the backstage politics that he's within league and we know EVPs we know who they are, so it just looks like it doesn't feel right
it's the
to me. The,
storyline. This
yeah, to me the correct booking would have been, and the crowd was behind Takesha, man. Like to me that would have been like
that should have
the
been the one to
obvious
one.
choice.
That was my
He
go
should have
to.
Takesha to me should have won this. He should have been booked to win this match. But as far as like the in ring, it was fun. You know what I mean? So I give it 3 out of 5.
Yep.
3 out of 5 stars.
I give it a 3 out of 5 as well. It was decent for all the prop spots, weapon spots, everything under the sun. That kept me highly invested with everything and this was going on. Tateshka's Blue Thunder Bomb through the table was just one of those most notable spots, as
That was
well
amazing.
as Mark Briscoe hitting that dive off the table that she didn't want to break because it bounced off like a rubber band and bounced directly off. People were like, but I thought
Yeah,
he netted, but the table didn't want to die. So initially things that she broke down. Leo Rush was the MVP tonight with showing his athleticism, and I literally look forward to seeing him bring his demon character from New Japan over to AEW, which just that was such a great thing. And I feel like it was a hit and miss when it comes to that. I would initially look forward. I see he's growing his hair back out again, and initially making his way towards becoming more notable of being the man of the hour. Dante Martin continues to be great. Fortunately, both of the Martin brothers can't be at the same place at the same time. One, I feel like one of them always keep getting injured for doing too much, but it is what it is. When it comes to all the other characters that were involved in this match, Takesha was the MVP of keeping everybody under the win. Kirsten, he had times to initially get the victory, but initially wanted to go for those high prop spots. When it came to Mark Briscoe, he did his thing. El Phantasmo was okay on him, but he was very mid, from my own personal opinion. And Jack Perry, I already figured why they were going with that initial move. They want to have all the elite with the championship going against all AEW. They're saying they got the power, they got the stroke, yada yada yada. Kind of like we taking over and we got all your gold and you can't do shit about us. And things to see can initially be broken down when it comes to the initial storyline. But the TNT Championship, it's okay for him to have that, I guess. But I rather prefer having Koneske with the championship because that would have helped him a lot, lead up towards him against Will Ospreay for title for the
right.
Continental Championship and for the TNT because that's why I thought it was going to be. And then things just continue to be a dumpster fire with all these initial championships because people don't know what to do with them. Okada's keeping his championship. He's just having it as a trophy case, and it don't matter what he does with the championship. When it comes to the other championships, it just feel very mid right now. The only championship that's really getting a little light is the AEW Women's Championship, which affects Tony Storm is still doing a great job. Swerve, it felt
Yeah,
like it's very mid with his run, but it could be better. But initially, this match was okay. From my own personal opinion, it could have been better. But I look forward to seeing more of a limelight where they go with the storyline. Initially, lead up towards Hangman come back in the Owen Hart Foundational Tournament, and he's going to be the number one contender against Swerve, leading up to the match again, which we know those men are going to go, and I look forward to seeing that. And so notable things initially can happen with the initial storyline. But in general, it should be interesting to see what happens. But it is what it is. But I want to see
absolutely.
more of what they're going to do with Jack Perry. Jack Perry just got it because he felt like it was just a trophy case to keep us invested. But I felt like it fell flat because they dropped the ball with Takesha. But let's go ahead and get into this initial match. Mercedes Monet versus Stephanie Vakir for the AEW TBS champion and the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. This match was great. I enjoyed everything about it. A lot of back and forth. Stephanie needs to be a member of the AEW Women's Division 100%. She did a phenomenal job. She kept us invested. She knew how to work the cameras. Like she's prime and ready. She's ready for American television, and she did her thing tonight. Even though she initially lost to Mercedes, as Mercedes ended up picking up the victory by hitting that lovely bank statement crossface and initially making her tap out. But in notably, I like to see more when it comes to Stephanie and Mercedes. Mercedes still fell flat with her run, but now she got an initial new championship. And we also had a return of Britt Baker, who initially made her initial return to AEW, which I feel like that's going to be another trophy transitional champion, as Britt Baker most likely is going to become the new AEW TBS champion at All In leading up to that match. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be highly invested just in general. What's your take on everything?
So I'm with you. I thought the match was really, really good. From a technical standpoint, both women were amazing. And for me, one of the underlying things that made this match really good was, of course, the event took place in New York, and with Mercedes being a Boston girl, I like how the fans like gave her a hard time because not because they didn't like her, it's because you're from Boston. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
the whole Celtics and Knicks play on it. It was really cool. You know what I mean? Like I like that aspect of it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, Mercedes, we like you, but you from Boston, so it's like F you.
Yep.
Not like you know what I mean. So I really like that. I thought that brought more storyline, storytelling to the match. You know what I mean? So that was really cool. I really appreciate that. And the match overall, like I said, was really good, man. I personally give it a 4 star. That was a 4 star match. That was really, really good,
Yes.
man. I can't remember too many botches in the match. Both women, had good chemistry. I really liked it. I'm with you. I think Stephanie definitely needs to be on the AEW roster. Because she can go. I feel like this was a good, for first. And then for me, this was like the first time I really got to watch her. So if this was like your introduction to her, it was like you're impressed. You walked away impressed, like yo, she can go.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's
He
she's really
can
really good.
go.
And one thing I always appreciate about Mercedes is her versatility. Like she can, if you put her in like a strong style match or someone with like Willow. Willow has that strong style. Like she's a hard hitter. Mercedes can have a great match with a person like that. If you want to go luchador, she can have a great match with a luchador. Like she's so versatile in her styles. She can have close to 5 star matches with almost anybody because her style is all about adapting. So,
True.
to me, Mercedes is one of the top 5 women performers in the business today, if not the best. She's really really dope, and but one thing I like about Mercedes, I feel like she's gotten better on the mic. I feel like if she ever had one weakness, it was her mic skills, but her mic skills have definitely got improved.
They're
So
getting there,
she's
get in
becoming,
there. She can
yeah,
go. It's just that she's also talked about, touched on it on social media, that she does have creative control of her initial character.
hmm
Tony Khan gave her full green light. So whatever this is going on, it's Mercedes' call. So a lot of people are thinking like Tony's making this initial call and everything that's going on. No, Mercedes has 100% control of her initial character. That's why she liked it AEW over WWE, because WWE kind of controlled her of how she supposed to be in presentation, and
yeah.
Mercedes
And then
initially
also the
is
schedule, and also the
100%.
scheduler, and then also the scheduling and stuff like that. Plus, with AEW, they have that forbidden door. So if Mercedes wants to go work with other promotions, she can go do that. As far as like WWE, you
Yep.
know, they will want to exclusively keep her with just WWE. You know what
They're
I
going to
mean? They're
keep her
going,
for a good while, maybe for the next 3 years. We're going to see Mercedes continue to be on AEW television, killing it, doing her thing. Initially, she will make her return to WWE because that's initially where she wants to be on that WrestleMania stage. Nothing's like being on a WrestleMania stage, but AEW can make All In their initial WrestleMania, kind of float around to those big stages. Go to other territories that WWE is afraid to do. Go into
right.
Newcastle. Go into bigger venues. Go to international places. I'll be okay with AEW going international. It's all elite wrestling. I want to see all elite all around the world. I want to see it in Japan. I want to see it in Puerto Rico. I want to see the pay-per-views take off in multiple other places. Stop going to the same markets initially. That would keep us invested too, because then it will actually help them on a marketing stand to get more people in being invested and involved when it comes
Yeah.
just in general. If Tony really was to pick those pieces and take away and do what WWE's not doing, of taking advantage of those markets, kind of being kind of scared, jump aboard of it. Go to those places, those markets that you're afraid that you've never been to. New markets like Miami. Go to San Antonio. Go to Texas. Texas might be a little hard because they crowd a little mid. But you can do, if you're not going to do New York, go to the Brooklyn Barclays Arena. Go to one of those places. But I don't know how they whiz with W contracts where it comes to them. They see got first dibs on those big arenas, and they kind of push AEW out. But if AEW is just not kind of stop bleeding the same markets over and over again, they would do very good. Like they kind of got the Owen Hart's tournament over in Canada. You can make that initially a pay-per-view easily with no problem for the finals, and I will be okay with that. Or initially kind of push it out towards other markets as well, not only just London. Go to Glasgow, go to Ireland, go to all over. Of course, we got Rebecca, the man Quen. Speaking of her, she initially got her wins of marketing, trademarking that name. So initially, she can go anywhere. She might be pulling strings on us, applying of thinking she gonna leave WWE, but I don't think so. But she
Yeah.
initially did the copyright today, initially setting up for her initially go anywhere in the country and be called Rebecca the Man Quen when it comes to her. But what do you think about that, Tuck? Do you think that she initially will make that jump?
Nah, I think she stays. I think she I think I
Yep.
think I think she's I feel like certain people are like homegrown. I don't see them making a jump or at least no time soon. I feel like with Becky kind of this is her prime years. I don't think
Yep.
WWE will let her get away. I think you know they'll pay her handsomely, so she'll
True.
stay because that would be a huge loss. Like, and I feel like if you lose because I feel like they're a package deal. So I feel like if Becky were to leave, I feel like then you have to worry about Seth possibly leaving.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
True.
Because they're a package deal, so I don't think WWE would allow either one of them to walk. So yeah,
True. And then I don't see the Seth leaving. Seth is WWE homegrown. He's staying there. Rebecca's staying there as well because it'll be easier
yeah,
transition for them to have their kid so they could take turns when it comes to their kid because they do like what Cody does with his kid where they're on the road all the time. And I see that
yeah.
initially happening. Then we have the next official match of the night. We got the New Japan World Heavyweight Championship, John Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito. I feel like this match was a great match. It was okay, very mid. It kind of picked up the pieces from which initially happened in the women's match, and things was a lot of back and forth. John Moxley ended up finally losing the victory to Naito. And I give this match a 3.8 out of 5, but it was decent. Still kind of kept me invested. And I was okay with Moxley losing the victory because he kind of helped New
That's it.
Japan in a big way. And then Naito continued to be one of those great legends in the business, and he's not leaving New Japan. So why not give Naito the championship back?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I thought this match, I'll give it like a 3.5 stars, 3 out of 5 stars. I love the booking. I thought it was the right booking. I feel like that that's their main belt, and it should be over there with their company. Um, but I feel like Mox did a good job of helping showcase because since a lot of the top New Japan wrestling stars have deferred
True.
and came over to AEW. I feel like the spotlight hasn't really been on them like that. So yeah, for them to have their main belt being talked about again. You know what I mean? I thought
True.
Moxley did a good job at carrying the belt, but I feel like, it was the right decision for him to drop the belt and to do it on the big stage. So I thought it was a good call. As far as like the in ring and what's saying, it was definitely a hard hitting match. That's what you expect with a John Moxley match. Moxley's gonna it's
Hmm.
always gonna be hard hitting. It's gonna be gruesome. I'm surprised there wasn't blood. Because
I
usually
save here
with
first
yeah,
time.
usually with a Moxley match, man, somebody's bleeding. Somebody's gonna bleed out. So I was surprised by that, but no, I thought it was really good. It felt like a New Japan, match, with the New Japan ref and stuff like that, and under the New Japan rules and stuff like that. So I
Yep.
thought it was good. I thought it was good, and like I said, I was more impressed by the booking. I thought it was the right call.
Yes, it was 100%. You hit it round news when it comes to that, and I look forward to seeing more of what Naito does directly in New Japan. Now he's the man. He's gonna have a whole lot of challengers coming towards his way, as well as Zack Sabre Jr., who's looking to be in the line of getting that title shot for Wrestle Kingdom, as well as now we get to see where John Moxley goes from here with AEW. But I look for him to pick it up into high gear initially, now getting back in the fold of things. But I don't see where he's going to be fitting in with everything initially now that he's free from the New Japan side of things. Now he's picking up the pieces. I think he may be taking a little bit of time off and then pick up the pieces when it comes to All In. I don't see him on the card at All In, but initially I see him maybe All Out or initially making that notable return to Wrestle Dream to fight somebody else for New Japan again and go from there. But
Okay,
we shall see what happens in the long run. But let's get into the main event of the night is
there we go.
Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. This match was a 5-star match just in general. The twists and turns, the maneuvers, the hidden blades, everything. Swerve did his thing. Having Don Callis and eliminating himself being involved, it really had me highly invested, and I look forward to seeing more when it comes to Swerve Strickland just in general. When it comes to Will Ospreay, he continues to be the MVP of AEW. And Don Callis assorting himself. And of course, gotta love what Prince Nana continues to do. Initially assort himself to assist Swerve. But Swerve really pick up the pieces and pick up the victory. And it was great seeing things. But what was your take on that? What you felt about this main event?
5-star match, man. I'm following 5-star match. I feel like this match right here was the example of AEW doing their storytelling in ring. Like it was amazing.
Yes.
Like you got to see like like Swerve and Will have conflict because they are really friends, and Swerve thing is like, yeah, yeah, Will, you my man, I love you,
Yep.
but it's like I'm willing to do anything to keep this. And so the end of the match, when when Swerve, hey, hold up, okay, before I even get to what's the name, one of the best spots I've ever seen in my life, bro, is when Swerve did Swerve stomp onto the announcer table. That
Yep.
was incredible. Like literally, that was my oh shit moment. Like I literally said out loud, like, oh shit! Like I couldn't believe I
Yep.
saw that. That
They have
was
great chemistry.
amazing. Oh, dude, the chemistry between them two is amazing. Like I said, man, I am a Will Ospreay guy. That dude can go and Swerve. It's funny to think that Swerve is in this position, and in WWE, he didn't even make it to the main roster.
True.
It's it's
He
it's 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 it's, it's, it's mind boggling to think that like
it's
this guy
flabbergasting that he didn't, but he
this
should.
guy
100%.
this guy was in NXT and he was doing great work with Hit Row in NXT.
Yes, he did.
And
He helped
so
them.
absolutely. And so when Swerve was one of those like sneaky signings because when he got signed, it was like, hey, y'all really let this kid go? Y'all really let him
Yep.
go? So I'm loving the push that I know Tony gets a lot of flack for his booking and sometimes rightfully so, but I love like the last year and a half, the push he's giving Swerve. It's been amazing to watch. And I love how he's just showcasing Swerve, man. So in this match right here, it lived up to my expectation and then some. I thought it was amazing. And going back to the storytelling that AEW does in ring, this was the prime example of it. Like the end of the match, Swerve, it's like, he thought he had him beat. Will kicks out, and he didn't even waste any time. He did the arm bar and stumped his
Yep.
arm, and he was like, "I'm about to finish you off. Yeah, I love you, dude, but this belt means everything to me. So I'm
Yep.
going to even you. I'm willing to sacrifice
To
what's
sacrifice
mine."
everything.
And it was,
Yep.
and at the end of the match, I loved it. Swerve embraced him, kicked him on the forehead, like, "I love you, bro." But
You
I
got to
had to
get
do it. I had to
dropped.
do it, and
Yep.
I loved it, man. It was an amazing booking. It's funny because one of my buddies were talking all week. It was like, how are they going to book this? Like, I was like, they can't let Swerve drop the belt already. It's too premature. And I'm glad it happened now because I was like, I was under the impression if this happens, well, I was of the thinking, I should say, if this match happens at All In, there's no way Will Ospreay's losing in London.
Yep.
He's not losing in London.
He's not
So I'm
losing it.
glad
He's
we
gonna keep
got.
all the time.
He was not going to lose in London. So I'm glad we got this match now. We got a 5-star match, and even though Will Ospreay lost, this match does not hurt him because it
It
was an
doesn't.
incredible match, and he still has a belt, and he's still going to headline All In. So they walked away clean. You know what I mean? Well, this could have been a disaster. Like, I remember when I was out, so I was at the forum show after Double or Nothing, and so when they announced this match after Will Ospreay had won the 6-man the 6-man match to get this match, I was worried. I
Yep.
was like, this ain't a good idea. Like, this
I
this
thought it was
isn't
the
a good
same
idea.
thing. I thought it was a terrible
I'm like,
idea.
Tony, what are you doing, man? Like, this isn't a good idea. You're gonna put your two top stars against each other, and then it's like Will Ospreay is higher than fish grease right now, so it's like I just didn't see Will Ospreay losing. But
I didn't at all.
it's I didn't either, man. But I feel like this match, they both walked away clean. We got a great match. You know what I mean? Both walked away unscathed, and I feel like it just highlighted, AEW's superior in ring talent.
Yep. It proved that's what the championship is all about. You put the two best for the championship. That's what it initially needs to be when it comes to AEW's television. And they need to keep doing that on a weekly basis. You get the world championship on the line, you got to have the two best, regardless, no ends, no buts. That's what it needs to be every single week when you put the championship on the line for the biggest
Absolutely.
championship. So the prestige continue to be there for that title. If the man doesn't make the title makes the title doesn't make the man makes the title. So initially, when they continue to push things and continue to have the main event going on each and every single week, we need it to be the focus point of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So people see the AEW World Championship, they already know who they think about automatic off the back. I'm thinking about Will Ospreay, thinking about Swerve, thinking about Jericho, thinking about
Absolutely.
Moxley, thinking about whoever is known to be carrying that championship and carrying that AEW banner just in general. I
Absolutely.
am looking to see more of what Swerve continue to be pushed. I'm looking
Same
to
here.
Ospreay look like he's going to have his hands full with the Don Callis family as we see the
Yeah.
seeds being planted. And Prince Nana's in the wind of having Swerve back, of being the greatest manager of AEW right now as he continue to do his great thing. He's one of the people that initially watch the show as well on a weekly basis. Appreciate it. When it comes to Prince coming through, always give me feedback or let me know what's going on or anything, just their own personal opinion. But in general, appreciate you guys coming through. Just for this general, if you love when it comes to Jeffrey being involved in this show, it's always highly appreciated. Chime down in the comment, let me know what y'all thought about this whole show, and we will initially get back to you guys, even if it's on YouTube or if it's on Twitter or even if it's on Facebook, just in general. But until then, we catch you on the next episode. Y'all be safe. We out. Peace.